You're a freaking wizard, man. Thanks for sorting this out.
No, thank you.
Okay. We got about a 10-minute, about a 10-second stream delay, by the way. So
Cool.
that's
All right. Welcome back.
We're,
coming live, Perth to Earth, Kollecter Cup. We have returned.
Hold up. Let me just link it to the chat again,
Okay.
and then
Maybe I'll do a proper introduction. Hello, world, and welcome to the first Kollecter Cup of this quarter in the month of May. Is it the 10th of May? I feel sounds good to me. Saturday. This is our last cup in Western Australia before Melbourne Regionals taking place next week. We had some technical difficulties, unfortunately, but round 2 will be coming to you live from Perth to Earth, and we will be featuring it's the fabulous Chris Mupp versus Mr. Matty Slocum, who would have been on stream round 1 had we not had these difficulties that unfortunately prevented it. Round 2 underway. Both of these players currently on a 1-1 record. Not one and done like Ashley's relationship with Kyogre, which we discussed previously.
Fucking hell.
Bloody hell.
All right.
So
yes, my bad.
Let's get into the team sheet preview, because we're in team preview.
All right.
Take us away. Talk about Matt's team.
All right. Well, we're finally back up and running. Thanks a lot for bearing with us. To anybody who is just popping back in, welcome. We're starting our match between Matt and Chris. We've got Matt on the CSR Zama with the Amoonguss, Urshifu Rapid, Chenpao, and Tornadus for the Tailwind mode. And the classic combo, CSR Zama, versus Chris running the Sun team of Koraidon Lunala with Whimsicott, his own Tailwind mode, Brute Bonnet, his own Spormon, his own Chenpao, and Entei.
But interestingly, we talked about this while we had the technical difficulties before, the Chin-Pow differential. Mm-hmm. We talked about the difference between Throat Chop and Crunch. I was of the belief that Throat Chop is the better move. They both have 80 base power and 100% accuracy. I think shutting off sound moves is a little bit more effective. There aren't as many in this format as you discussed prior to, say, Regulation H, for example. But with Chi-Yu snarling and Incineroars yelling obscenities at you and then running away, being able to prevent those, I think, is nice. You were more in favor of the defense drop chance from the Crunch, and we're going to have both of those two powers against each other.
Personally, I'm in favor of running Sacred Sword, which, interestingly, neither of these players are running.
Completely valid.
Like,
right.
having a good move into Incin, having a good move into Zamazenta, I feel like Sacred Sword, while not coming off the stab, is just such a good option.
It's very good into Zamazenta, being able to bypass that defense increase as well. But we are going to see turn 1 get underway. Fun Guy and the Fraud. That is one of the greatest superhero duos. It's harder to say than that sounds. Wow. Of all time.
Good to do your mouth warm up exercises.
Yeah.
We've got Fun Guy and the Fraud. Yes.
What are we going to do today, Fun Guy? The same thing we do every day, Fraud. Try to take over the bracket.
Fun Guy and the Fraud.
So
anyway,
that
I
is.
think the young people in chat aren't going to understand Pinky and the Brain references.
There's no young people in the chat.
Completely valid. All right, take us away. Turn 1 is underway, Jared. What's going on?
All right, yeah, we've got Chris on the Koraidon side, getting a first big KO into the Amoonguss with a crit with the Flare Blitz. Now, I'm tempted to think that doesn't matter. I honestly don't imagine you can calc an Amoonguss to deliver Flare Blitz from Koraidon in Sun.
Life Orb,
especially
Flare Blitz,
not. Yes, it is the Life Orb. Yes, it is. But we see a Heavy Slam fired back from Matt into the Whimsicott, taking it down. I didn't see, but did it get the Tailwind up before it got KO'd? Yes.
We certainly
got confirmation from Chris.
We certainly do have speed control underway. Both players having one restrictor still in the fields, taking out each other's support Pokemon. This is gearing up to be a very fast-paced match. A lot of high pressure in the beginning here as Chris is sending out the Lunala, my personal favorite restricted in this format.
It's certainly eating good. It's certainly eating good right now. We're seeing a lot of people running it, and a lot of people running it in different comps as well. We've got the Lunala Maridon, Lunala Coridon, those being the main two ones, but a couple little freezes here. But we'll see how this match will develop as Slocum bringing out his own Tailwind Mon, potentially able to get the stagger on the Tailwind setting.
It also has access to that Rain Dance to turn off this Sun here, and he does have the Mystic Water Urshifu in the back, so he can stagger Tailwind, and if he survives, he'll turn
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna try not to leak what Mons are in the back of each player's teams, but it is possible that he could always have that. Yeah, I think the stream is just a little bit framey. Robson's computer's doing a lot of work, but we see the Terra Dark from the Tornadus, likely to avoid taking too much from, I suppose, a Moonblot, a Moongeist beam. But setting up that range, they're going to be really powering down the Coridon.
It does very little damage to this Zamazenta once the Orichalcum Pulse is gone. Ooh. The Meteor Beam coming out.
Will it connect?
The Terrestrialization might be the play here because we might see the Staggered Tailwind we're talking about.
Alright, it is going to connect, and it does survive. So the Terrestrialization, letting that Tornadus survive for another turn, able to get the Rain Dance off and still be alive next turn to potentially get a Tailwind up.
This was a very, very big turn for Matt here. Being able to keep his Thunderous alive, Tailwind can now potentially come out staggered by 2 turns. He has the offensive option. Coridon was only turned off for 1 turn, but the Zamazenta's taken so little damage, and there's not a lot of big threats to it on
the fact that it's not quite as oppressively strong as regular Amoonguss just because of its type combo, but just a little bit of a spicier Spore Pick here. It's not Breloom, but still very cool. And we are going to see the Terrestrialization coming out from Chris now.
The turn has begun.
On the Brute Bonnet.
The turn has begun, so we can talk about this.
So that's Terra Water.
Because they wrote this in, and apologies for the screen connection there. So very interesting seeing on Matt's side, having clicked the Taunt into the Brute Bonnet, anticipating the potential Terrestrialization. He's doubled it with Taunt obviously wouldn't work if it was a Dark type, as Dark type sort of means it pranks to priority moves. So we've got the double coverage here from Matt, and he has successfully taunted to the Brute Bonnet.
Zamazenta gonna take that Moongeist beam. Body Press coming out, and wouldn't have even killed if the Bonnet had not terrored, which is interesting. And is that Rocky Helmet? That is Rocky Helmet, yeah. Brute Bonnet, doing its best Amoonguss impersonation.
The Rain Dance mattered so much there. The Zamazenta being able to hit that Brute Bonnet back with a Body Press, not getting knocked out by the Lunala because of that Rain Dance on turn 1. Coridon doing very little damage.
And a little bit of a momentum swing for Chris here. Was down a Mon with his Coridon taken out, but now we see Matt with only the CSR left. No Urshifu Rapid in the back. I thought you were reading off of seeing him open the thing, but so my apologies.
Crucially, no Wide Guard on this Lunala, but not as crucial when
there is a Wide Guard on the Lunala actually. It doesn't. It's got 3 stabs and Wide Guard.
My apologies.
So
okay, I was wrong there.
But also no sash on the CSR, so no way for it to just prevent the Sucker Punch from one-shotting it before it can do anything. So no real out there from that endgame from Matt. I'm interested to see how he'll try and adjust, what changes he'll make, if any, for this next game. It's 2 very hyper-offensive teams.
Indeed, what a fantastic comeback. Going for that Tailwind Stagger, that early Rain Dance, to turn off the Coridon,
but not quite working out for him as he lost the Zama a little early, lost his Amoonguss turn 1. I think, to be honest, that might have been the first nail in his coffin for that match, is losing one of those big support pieces right away.
Interestingly, both players with their dual restricted. their Tailwind Setter and their Spore User / Redirector, but different Pokemon. Tornadus versus Whimsicott, Amoonguss versus Bonnet. And then we have, well,
it's a really interesting point actually. They're two almost completely different teams, but really like different mons fulfilling the same kinds of roles. Yeah, both have a Rocky Helmet, Rage Powder, Spore mon. Both have a Tailwind Setter that can also put down weather. Both have one restricted with Wide Guard and one that's a lot more offensive. Both with Life Orb.
Both with a Chin Power.
Both have a Chen.
The one mon that's overlapping here.
Both have a Chen Power, and their last mon being a strong physical mon to abuse that sort of ruin. Matt with
I love to see this. A quick game's a good game in my opinion, and that was
it is
in a flash.
It is Mystic Water, not Scarf, so this actually can protect itself.
It can detect oncoming attacks.
Really a surprise. It's got Aqua Jet as well, mirroring the extreme speed from the Entei. Really, like, with only one mon in common, these two teams looking really surprisingly similar in the ways that they function, but we see different leads here from both players in Game 2. Chris opting to bring the Chen Power out and leading straight away with the Koraidon, not even bothering with the Whimsicott, saying, I don't need Tailwind to beat you here. But Matt still bringing that Amoonguss, but also pressuring with the Calyrex this turn. It will be able to outspeed both of Chris's mons, as there's no Tailwind options being shown from either side, but
this is a pretty crucial turn here. These leads, this can go. We can see one player drop one of the two mons here, and this could be over in turn one. So a lot of reads, a lot of very tactical plays to be made here. I'm interested to see what happens here.
Certainly, the amount of damage coming out from most of these mons, just making it so volatile on the turn one. We will see the Terra Fire, the Amoonguss staying in and Rage Powdering. The Cali Shadow getting down very good damage on both mons, doing more than half on the resisted Chen Power. Flame Charge coming out from the Koraidon and one-shotting the Amoonguss with that 50 base power move. That just shows
60 base power move
Flame Charge is 50.
Terrestrialization. It boosts 50.
It boosts it up to 50.
We have the Draining Kiss boosted the same way. So
okay, that's a good
60 base power, but Stab boosted, Orichalcum Pulse boosted, Life Orb boosted.
And we see the Chen Power knocking out that Calyrex as well. Not a good start at all for Matt here.
This was that big turn I was talking about. We don't have a play cam, but I saw Matt putting his head in his hands over there. Not opting for the Terror on the Amoonguss, probably trying to make a read here.
This is not a good place to be in a down a game in a game 2.
Surviving after Rocky Helmet chip.
Just barely as well.
And Life Orb chip, and then taking that Astral Barrage. It's basically on 1 HP. That's all it needs to be able to lay down more pressure here. And again, we're going to see another big read needing to be made for this, because the Chin Power still poses a big threat. The Koraidon does have the ability to detect here. It's not over.
Indeed, though, the Zamazenta here in the back, having quite the mountain to climb here. It's interesting though. I wonder that last turn played out, the Koraidon moving before the Chen Power, able to get that Amoonguss out of the way so that the Chen Power can then target down the Calyrex. I wonder if that's a purposeful team choice from Chris to have the Chen Power slower than the Koraidon, of course both having the same base speed, or if that was just, if he's speed tying with himself and that was purely luck, because that worked out very, very well. Close combat coming out into the Zamazenta, and despite the +1 doing almost all of its HP, Koraidon going down to the Life Orb recoil.
You have to wonder if that was calced for, like, this Koraidon keep on moving before the Chin Pow. Is this a Jolly Koraidon with Life Orb? I would hazard a guess. I'd probably assume that it is.
It's pretty difficult to run.
Is that a calc, or is this just max defense Sam that can just take that naturally?
I don't know the exact spread, but I do know that Matt does have quite a bit of speed on his Zama, so not full bulk, but still a Zamazenta, still very
I think
defensive.
At one point, a lot of them were like
Ooh, the brute
max
bonnet.
defense, max speed.
Yeah, true. That was
But
the
that
that was the
spreads-
early spread
yeah,
that.
but spreads will be getting a little bit more technical now, I'd imagine, with 2 restricteds to have to deal with, 2 difficult moves to have to take, and in comes the hero of Perth, the icon itself, Brute Bonnet.
Yeah, Matt with the tailwind advantage, but
He's brought himself
And-
right back into this
and
game.
Chris
Both
down
using
to Chris down to 2 mons, but looking very vulnerable on that Zamazenta. I wonder if the Sucker Punch from the Brute Bonnet is going to be able to take out the Zamazenta. It's resisted and it's got +1 defense, but Brute Bonnet does have 130 or 40 attack, and it is enough to take it out. It is a crit.
Oh, I
I'd
don't
be
know
very-
I don't know if the crit mattered there.
Yeah.
With only 13 HP, you're right.
Very,
it
very-
is resisted.
yeah.
Naturally, extremely physically bulky and +1. But surely, even the little Brute Bonnet that
Yeah.
would have done enough.
So not going to do a lot of damage, but still wasn't a lot of health left there. But we will see Chris take a commanding win in this round 2 against Matt.
Matt really banged a lot on that turn 1 there, choosing not to terrestrialize his Amoongus, probably trying to make a read into what the targeting was going to be. And
Yeah.
Chris just said, I'm running Koraidon. This is a hyper offense team. I'm clicking the button.
Thanking you.
Zoom and boom all the way to 2-0. Chris Ma, the first match of
right.
the round over, I think.
That's very convenient. Yeah, Chris, you want to have a little winners interview? I got to go chuck a lick, so there's a seat just become available for you. Sit down and have a chat to Sliff. I'll be right back.
It's adamant.
Okay, yeah. So I was wondering that. Yeah.
Chris Ma joining us for the interview. We all know his history, we all know his stories, we've told them many times before. Ask in chat if you would like a recap. I want to talk about your team first though. You are quite well known for being the spicy team builder. You usually add a little bit of that fabulous flair that we're used to seeing.
This
But
is
in
fairly
front of-
cookie cutter for me.
In front of me is a meta team which I like. I've been talking about Koraidon Lunala since like Reg G.
Koala, yep.
Koala.
Yeah, that's the official
Koala.
Tub Takes name for it.
Okay, we'll go with Koala. Tell us about, firstly, why you ran Koala, but secondly, the Entei. We're
Yeah.
not seeing a lot of that right now.
So the team is Tupac. It is 2 pussycats and koala. Because it's got Chen Pao and Entei. So usually koala teams are Flutterfish, or they've got like a trick room mode with Lunala, and you've got like Amoongus or Brute Bonnet and like Ursaluna or something like that with Indeedee female. So there's usually 2 variants of building this team. I've gone with a 3rd variant. I reckon Entei Chen Pao is like criminally underappreciated in this meta. Entei Chen Pao's got very good. It's a very good lead into a lot of different restricteds. I love having Sucker Punch. I love having extreme speed. You can often kill faster legendaries before they even move. And the Chen Pao is adamant. It's deliberately slower than Koraidon. I don't like the idea of speed tying with things. I think like getting that extra damage output, making sure you can kill a Tornadus in one hit, making sure you can kill a Rillaboom, like just having that adamant Chen Pao I think is really good. And I can also like break Shadow Shield or something like that, and then then I know immediately Koraidon will move after and take the KO. I just think it's a very hyper offense team for me. The last 2 slots, Brute Bonnet and Whimsicott, I've like fiddled around with a few other things like Fluttermane and Tornadus and things like that, but
Interestingly, they're quite different to more so the Whimsicott. The Brute Bonnet is a more standardized set, but Whimsicott, usually you see like 1 or 2 tech moves on the Whimsicott because it's usually only clicking like 2 moves, right?
It's got 4 move slot syndrome.
You've got Dazzling Gleam, a little bit of spread chip just to break some sashes.
Well, it's just like this. When you got things like Cornerstone Ogre that with Sturdy, that with Follow Me, you need something that can break sashes, do a little bit of chip. There's so many in this metagame, like there are so many things that I count just to live in a couple of HP, and that spread move, I know it's not getting as much damage output as Moonblast, but if you look, the weakness of Koala is there's no spread moves on the restricteds, which I think is a huge weakness. Lunala, I even done.
Worry Seed. What are you worry seeding?
Okay, so Worry Seed is he's got the fucking leaf blower out in the store.
Not the effing leaf blower. But
The
he does
damn
have
leaf blower.
Yes. Once again, creating technical difficulties. One more thing though.
We're trying to keep it.
The Entei. 2 fire type moves.
Yes.
Why have you opted for Sacred Fire
Everything
and
is,
Flare Blitz?
everything's very okay. First of all, Sacred Fire is a broken move, and getting
Yes.
that 50% chance burn on things like a Zamazenta or it's just insane. And also Flare, everything's so there are things that even like in Sun, there are things that Sacred Fire doesn't KO. Like Flare Blitz guarantees KOs on a lot of things like Zamazenta and just Flare Blitz in Sun with either or Flare Blitz with sort of Ruin Chen Power next to it. Like that Flare Blitz gets thing KOs that the Sacred Fire doesn't, but Sacred Fire is almost like spammable move.
Yep.
So you need both.
So there are calcs that you're familiar with. Where you know this is going to live a Sacred Fire. I need a Flare Blitz this turn.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, interesting. That is very, very cool. So there it is. That is the fabulous flare that we're looking for. We've got the Warrior Seed Whimsicott and we've got the double fire type Choice Banded Entei. That's the fabulous flare that we were looking for. I love this team. I want to talk about the real reason you beat Matt though, after Alfie stops being annoying. The real reason you beat Matthew Slocum, Jared and I were talking about this, it's the move choice on Chin Pao. He's opted for Crunch, that 20% chance to lower defense.
I think it's is it 10% or 20%?
I think it's 20. I could be wrong. We'll have to fact check. But I don't think that's the best option because Chin Pao, Zamazenta, they're 2-coing everything they hit anyway. But Throat Chop, Snarl Chi Yu, Parting Shot Incineroar, you don't have Sacred Sword, you can't hit those Pokemon anyway for good damage when they're on the field. Being able to nullify some of their best move options, I think it's better to have that as a niche. Every once in a blue moon you are going to click that move, and I don't think the defense drop is mattering most of the time.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. To be honest, there's an argument for both. I have a very physically offensive team apart from the Lunala and I guess the Whim, but you could argue that the defense drops could be more handy, but honestly, I actually have to see how prevalent Snarl Chi Yu is a real thing, and I've got a Lunala, so I don't really want them to click Snarl against me. So yeah, I could make an argument for either. I didn't think too much of it, to be honest, for the Throat Chop slot. And also the Brute Bonnet, especially in Sun, Brute Bonnet can tank like Glacial Lance. It can tank like pretty much. I don't think there's a physical attack in the game that can beat a Brute Bonnet in Sun. It's that tanky. Because it gets the defense boost, and it's also like Rocky Helmet max defense. Like Urshifu can't beat it. It'll live a Terra Stella Urshifu close combat. Not even in Sun.
Wow,
it's crazy.
It is Brute Bonnet. We love it here in Perth. I'm starting to stop loving it now that it's meta.
Now that it's meta?
I'm not one for disliking meta. I like centralized formats. I know it's not the popular opinion in the room. I don't like that we have Amoonguss, the best Pokemon ever created, that is bulkier and punches you in the face for damage. I don't like that there is a better version of the already best Pokemon that exists.
And also the dark typing does come in handy. They can't pranks to taunt you.
Yes. Yeah. There was that very hard read.
That Terra Warded and he taunted me.
He went for the body press, which may not have KO'd anyway. We're not sure, but also the taunt just to cover in case you did Terra. So both options were covered there to sort of oppress the Brute Bonnet, which ultimately, as we know, you're here, it didn't end up mattering too much, but it was a very good turn for Man. Had it gone right for him, I think he would have taken the edge. He was making quite a few reads in that game, and you were just Chrisma, zoom and boom. We love hyper offense in Perth. I'm not used to seeing you run a hyper offense team that just clicks to win, but it was very impressive, and you piloted it quite well.
Yeah, this is my third event in a row. I did top 4 at the Cup last Saturday, then I won the challenge on Tuesday night with this team, and this is the same team again, so
excellent.
And I'm also playing the GC with this exact team as well, and I'm 6-1 so far. I hate the GC, but with that turn, the terroring the Brute Bonnet was the right call, even if I read the taunt. Like, he had Bleakwind Storm, so he's threatening to body press Bleakwind Storm and just kill my Brute Bonnet, so I think Terra Water was the right call. I kind of wanted to save the Terra because I thought he had Calyrex Shadow in the back, which he did, and I was worried about Lunala needing to keep that Terra to Terra Fairy, but because I ended up just going with my gut feeling on Terra, and I didn't even need the Terra Fairy on Lunala in the end anyway because I had the Sucker Punch coverage. So yeah, if I keep that Brute Bonnet alive, because he hasn't got Sash on his Shadow Rider, it doesn't really matter what he does in the end game. I can just spam Sucker Punch every turn. So yeah, it was. I was pretty comfortable in that matchup.
Excellent. Well, good stuff, mate. And some quick updates for the people following at home, all 2 of you. Ben O'Neill has defeated Brendan Robeson. Jamie Hodge, the secret sixth guy, advances to 2-0, defeating Alfie Worgan. Oh, sorry, 1-1. Okay. Defeating the technical difficulty that is Alfie's background noise disrupting our stream, and Peter Vowles taking out Mr. Mark Murray. Jared has returned. I might step out for a quick break, but I'll see if somebody else who is currently standing around would like to come and have a quick chit chat with you about the day.
Have a little resticle.
Jamie,
I'll
would you
hold
like
it down.
to take a seat and have a chat? All right.
I'll get my announcer voice on.
Jamie Hodge, the secret sixth guy, friend of the show, subscriber to the O2 Drop podcast, previous guest on the O2 Drop podcast as well, I believe twice, two-time guest.
One time at my house, too.
One time at his house, he hosted the O2 Drop podcast. The secret sixth guy, Jamie Hodge. Claim the fame.
Chris typing in chat on my phone.
Oh, I was like, why the hell are you typing?
I was like, huh?
So
loving this.
Are we talking
loving
about
this.
that we have going on at the moment?
We can talk about whatever we want.
Well,
it's a free country.
Chris's team sheet's not going to help me here.
Yeah, I know.
So.
We've got Dan with. Here you go. I've
Thank you.
got pickies. We got Dan v Joel. Look at that, they're right next to each other. Both running Linala, but Joel Linala Zamazenta and Dan with the Linala Koraidon. Game 3 and down to 1 mon left on Joel's side, so not looking amazing for him, but
If he had a Raging Bolt here, I would believe in the comeback, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like there is a Raging Bolt around.
no. Honestly, with so much Koraidon and Miraidon, I feel like Raging Bolt's in a good spot to get double boosts, right? But
Yeah,
not
but
seeing him.
I've seen it's going to be a bit of a pun, a rise in rising voltage. If that's the move.
Oh, real?
Yeah, it actually nukes people out. It's kind of weird, especially because it gets boosted being on electric terrain as well. So
Yeah,
but then
true.
it's kind of hard being on. You don't want a double electric dragon on your team. So it's not good.
It ends up working out on a
Here comes that big
on
boom
a-
AJ.
Big Boom AJ
He brings the boom.
versus Insin with his own Insin,
Also, there's
but
Trick
it's the
Room up.
Rizzler going back.
There's a Trick Room still up. I did see Trick Room being set earlier. There's some Rocky helmet damage. Gonna be double recall here.
I don't know. One of you press Y for me, will you? I want to see the board state. Yeah, Twisted Dimensions return to normal. We've got a 10-second stream delay,
Oh, okay.
so we can already hear them shaking
Yeah.
hands. But
We need to divide it. You what?
well, I can
Yeah.
hear the. Shut up, Warren.
We hear like the
Yeah.
handshake. It sounded more like a high five, but you never know.
Yeah. So that's Dan defeating Joel to
Came down to game 3.
bring himself back to 1-1.
Yeah.
Joel's Insin seems too fast for Trick Room. Yeah.
Dan out here for redemption as he went 1-2 at the event on Thursday and only beat the bye. So not a very good opponent in that bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Having a little bit of a rough time at some of the recent tournaments.
Yeah.
But
He goes to every event, so he must be pretty high up there. Like a bit of coin getting around. So
he did.
Old Moose single. Okay, here we go.
He did manage to beat Mark on the opponent's resistance tie at Morley on Tuesday, though. That was pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Tell us how your match went, man. How'd it go?
I played Alfie.
Yeah.
I clean sweep, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think the second game was pretty important. He misclicked. He did what's that move called? Electro drift into my Insin instead of into my Koraidon, who had
Okay.
2 times
Close
speed
combat drop.
lowered,
Oh,
so-
right.
so yeah, he kind of misclicked there, which pretty well just cost him the match, unfortunately. But
Damn.
you can't win them all.
Sure, it's a misclick or
He claimed it was a misclick. I don't know. But
The automatic-
I don't know why you would scary face something and then not attack into it. So,
yeah. No, that's a good point.
yeah, a bit questionable.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna believe the misclick. But he was probably distracted by the smell of his own cologne because he was hanging around that area.
Hello, Pokey Z. Don't know who you are, but welcome to the chat. We've just had round 2 of Swiss complete, And while we're getting the next round,
No signal because there's no games currently.
yes,
so.
there's currently nothing in the dock, but and we didn't have time to set the webcam up because we had a few technical difficulties getting the stream started. But welcome.
I don't think you want to see our faces anyway.
Yes, Sliff and I casting together with
Everyone
fucking
here has a
raggedy beards. No kidding.
Roughest lids.
But we're here chatting to Jamie, talking about how it feels to beat Alfie.
Yeah, pretty good really.
Is it a rush?
Yeah, also the second game he terrored. He had a frigger off. He terror warded, expecting a flare blitz.
Yeah.
But then it took about 75%, and then got knocked out from a knockoff from my in-sin. So
Yikes.
yeah, it wasn't his best match.
Yeah.
Like I said, just definitely distracted from the Cologne, I believe, the Cologne incident. As
That's why you run the. He does have the electric seat on the Farig, but hadn't propped it yet with the terrain.
No, he had not.
No.
So
Damn, it's unfortunate. So had the ability to
yeah, he had
prevent
his
that
yeah, it was
that scenario.
frigger off, hands lead,
Yep.
and he switched out the hands for Grimsnarl.
For not Maridon.
Not
Yeah,
Maridon.
yeah.
So otherwise, it most likely would have lived, and then I'm believing. I assume he set up the trick room, so that's what he went for.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my Switch in the dock to this something.
So people have something to look at. Get a YouTube video up or something for the kids. Yeah, we're in the process of connecting a Switch to the dock. Then hopefully Signal will be reconnected. There is still a few games going on here at the moment. I think only one by the looks of it. Don't know if that's a game 3 or just a long game. Actually seems to have long games, so it could still be the first game.
We do have a round still going between Ashley and Callum. It's CSR Marai versus Lanalization.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so you're not running Swordfish anymore? Interesting.
no, Kyogre is. We've all been hearing about how much Kyogre's just been letting her down non-stop. So we've seen her move on to greener pastures. I think it seemed like a
recommends What's Lunarlodon? Is that
Lunarlodon.
that Groudon?
Running Caridon, Lunala, I reckon. Lunadon, I don't know, we've got too many Dons. It could be, I mean, Lunadon is historically Lunala Groudon, but it could be Lunala Caridon or Lunala Maridon, both of which are popular calls
Caridon,
right
Maridon.
now. Ooh.
That's the first place store prize.
Oh,
that
wow.
along with the Mint 10, and that's second place.
PSA'd.
I would have tried harder if I knew those prizes. God damn.
Oh, fuck. Why am I casting? Jeez. Warren's just shown us the prizes for today, and we've got a trophy as well as 2 PSA graded are these Worlds Pikachus?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, mint.
Yeah, 2 PSA graded Pikachu cards from last year's Worlds as prizes for first and second. How good's that?
He likes using Indeedee support. Interesting. Ah, my elbow.
Yeah, you're right.
We have an injury here.
Oh no.
Second one today.
Didn't think that we'd need OSH covery
Yeah.
for
For
casting. You're not even on the casting
So
desk.
that's $70 for
$70.
Yep. And
Holy
the,
crap! And you're giving away 2 of them, or is the store's giving away 2 of them?
The grade 9 falls back down to $18.
Right.
Yeah. That one's the
Damn.
more one. So that goes to the first place.
No kidding.
We should
Wow.
get a roaming commentator because Alfie looks a bit depressed on the couch over there. So,
Yeah.
Get him in for an interview.
I say I enjoy casting with Sliff, but we've both been trying to interrupt each other so bloody much that like it's been a little bit difficult to know who's shoutcasting and who's giving the colour commentary.
Yeah, you need
We
to
practice our turn taking a bit.
figure out how to balance the roles out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do it in other sports or VGC, but
Yeah, it's all right. As the day goes on and he gets tired, and I get tired, my ADHD activates and I get more of a motor mouth, so it'll balance.
Yeah,
It'll balance out.
One picks up for the other one.
Wide lens on Groudon to confirm Precipice Blades and Rock Blast. Does Groudon get Rock Blast? I did not know that. If you're running Rock Blast, then wouldn't you want
Rock Blast-
loaded dice and then Instead of wide lens, run fucking Gravity Sableye or something?
I don't know. I think, Gravity Sableye seems a lot better, but also Sableye's got BST of like 300. So
Something like that.
not very good.
Yeah.
But it seems to hang around longer than it needs to sometimes.
Yeah. It's good. It gets the quad. Something that...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We haven't seen much quash any quash really this generation, have we?
No,
But,
zero.
yeah.
You might see the odd random team on Showdown or close team cheat ladder, but other than that, nothing exciting.
Yeah. We got some quash back in Sword and Shield when like Dynamax was a thing and it really mattered who was hitting who first.
Yeah, I think Regulation B there was a lot of quash as well. I remember with Murkrow.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. I'm a fan of Murkrow. Having Prankster Haze is always been good.
I brought Murkrow to Perth. But, I think I was the worst Murkrow player.
Oh, I wasn't the worst Murkrow.
So, yeah.
But
I think it was you, Chris, and me from memory.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
the worst
right.
out of us three.
Oh, damn.
So that was it.
No one else was running it.
No, yeah, there was literally 3 people. Because I remember, at least I'm hopefully the best Murkrow player.
I don't get why it was so much like fast teams and setup, like with Arcalodon and other stuff. There was so much stuff to haze. What's your Koraidon's moveset? Who you were talking to Jamie?
Yeah, mine is...
What you running, boss?
Flare Blitz, Flame Charge, Protect, and Close Combat.
With the Life Orb?
Yeah, Adamant Nature.
Okay,
paired it next to...
not worrying about winning the... Not worrying about the speed
No,
tie,
because if I connect Icy Wind, then I'm guaranteed to outspeed most Miraidons anyway. And even outspeed Calyx Shadows as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I tried that matchup in versing Matt Slocum, and he read me like a book, and isn't an idiot and didn't fall for that. So.
That's a good point, actually. I was thinking about that last night on my team. I've got Bundle and Miraidon. My Miraidon's got literally no speed investment.
Yeah.
But it still outspeeds CSR after an Icy Wind.
Yeah. It's not really Wolfie's one, because Wolfie's one, I saw it, something goofy. It's got like 196 196...
On his Koraidon?
Yeah, 196 attack.
Oh, okay, so it's like a bulky spread.
Yeah, enough speed to outspeed, I think, Miraidon by like 1 point, or Calyrex by 1 point, and then the rest is in HP. So I must subscribe to him on Patreon, so I have his full spread. So it's pretty good. Do you want to jump in, Joel, and talk about your round 3 that went really well? No? Okay. He's saying no, shaking his head.
No. Not going so well at the moment. We'll...
6 views, no way.
Yeah, man. Viewers flooding in.
Practically famous.
I know. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We are still in the downtime between round 2 and round 3 of Swiss.
We can have
We've got. All right.
It was a very sweaty 3 games.
Yeah. All right. We see our much longer last match just being concluded with Ashley taking out a win.
Again for the second time, the longest match, I should add.
I know.
She loves him.
When I'm not playing Giratina, it falls to her.
Yeah, pretty well. Especially best of 3. So
she's running Zacian. Like that's such a.
I think with Tailwind from memory as well, right?
Yeah.
I played her in the O2 drop.
How does she make it last this long? There's like nothing stally on this team. It's Tornadus, Zacian, Lunala, Cornerstone, Urshi Rapid, and Hands. Like that's like Hands is pretty much the only thing that's.
You've got Trick Room and Wide Guard and Lunala, so it's not horrible.
Yeah.
But
I like the Tail Room. That's
very Mark Murray, just over in 4 turns. So. But it obviously wasn't over in 4 turns, so...
Nah, Mark doesn't run Trick Room. What are you talking about?
No, I just mean like hyper offense pretty well. So.
Yeah.
I think Trick Room's there for the old bait and switch.
Well, if you want an idea of the sort of thing that Mark's running, it's he's running CSR Koraidon. So basically picking the 2 most hyper offensive restricteds.
Yeah, well,
and running them together along with like just pure support for both.
I can guarantee you that without you telling me that Mark was running Cali Shadow. So
Yeah. He's got Chi-Yu to make Cali Shadow hit even harder. Clefairy to.
Oh, pollen puff on the Calyrex. That's interesting.
Yeah, dude, it hits Indeedee.
Yeah,
It's your out for Indeedee ladies. Yeah.
It does also get Dark Pulse, and then you get the Flinch
does.
chance as well. So
That's true.
I had that originally.
Yeah.
My source had a Calyrex with Terra Fighting.
Oh
Terra
yeah.
Blast, so.
That's some GC shit.
But it also didn't pick up the Oko on Insins, so.
Yeah, Pikachu.
It's PSA 10 graded.
I think every Cali Shadow team's the same, to be honest.
And in second place, we have a PSA 9, which is not worth as much.
We can submarine to me, surely.
Justin, I'll have to say.
That's my muscle memory. Not perfect. Damn it. I missed it. Okay.
I think the next rounds might be up.
Yeah, we got our.
Because actually-
this is round 2 pairings. So we'll see round 3 pairings.
Ashley, do you have time for an interview? A little quick run.
All right. Thanks for joining me,
All good
Jamie.
anytime,
Cheers
mate.
for the chats.
Where's my water bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna hop up and chat, Ashley? Just going with the assumption you're on the top 2. E2O? Oh, there you go. All right, stream. We're having a little interview with another of our 2Os who just finished their match. Ashley, Ash, how did you manage to stretch a match out so much longer than everybody else in that round?
Because Envy gave me a real run for my money and made me work for the win.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay, good-o.
Yeah.
Fair enough. How was the matchup? What's the? Give us the sauce.
Wasn't fantastic with the CSR Maridon.
Might have to lean into the mic a little
sorry.
bit. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what its radius is like.
With CSR Maridon, Ditto, Incineroar, which is really bad into my team, which has only 2 special attackers. And those 2 are Tornadus and Lunala only has 2 attacking moves, and that's Meteor Beam and Moongeist Beam.
Right.
So it wasn't the best matchup for me, I don't think.
How do you go with only Moongeist as your repeatedly clickable stab? Just struggle into normal or dark types after getting the Meteor Beam off, or have you got enough sort of coverage from other things?
I've got enough coverage. I've got my Ushbu, I've got my Iron Hands, and I've got Zacian. So I am covering for my Lunala's weakness, and it definitely shows that it has a weakness. Envy's Ditto was Terra Normal, obviously.
True. They are running Ditto. I did see that. Yeah.
How many more seconds will you guys be speaking for before I announce the next round pairing?
You can announce them whenever you want.
Yeah.
And they Terra Normal with their Ditto, which was matching into my Lunala, so it was a Terra Normal Lunala, and I clicked Moongeist Beam, and I was like...
Just press the off button for me, yeah? Just leave it by the... Cool. Thanks, dude. All right, you got the sheets? All right. Sliff. Yeah, man. Had a good little chat with Jamie. Got time for a brief chat with Ashley before the next round got announced.
She's
but
back. It's still enjoying her freedom from Kyogre.
yes, it sounded like it was a very toxic relationship, to be honest, Ashley and Kyogre. So I'm glad she's moved on to greener pastures. Zacian seems to be doing her good. She's 2-0 at the moment, and
Excellent. Good
no
stuff.
signs of slowing down.
And we have a new face/name in chat, PokeZ. PokeZ, sorry, we live in Australia. or PokeZ might live in America. Hello and welcome.
Do we know you, PokeZ? We'll give you a shout out if you're one of our friends who we know by name. If not, thanks very much for popping into the stream. It's good to have you here.
Absolutely. And if you're still here, you are about to witness round 3 of our current cup. We will be featuring on stream a very good matchup. We have Mr. Peter Vowles, who is currently in the top 20 for CP, potential candidate for a Worlds invite.
Is he? He's
Coming off of a very nice top 8 at Perth Regionals
on
recently.
that grind, is he?
His best results so far. And another player who looks like not slowing down at all. I'm not sure if he's at his BFL, but he's had a few wins here and there at our locals. He's had a good regional result. He's certainly come a long way, impressing very much, and his opponents will be Mr. Brendan Robeson. Shout out to the man who provided the equipment today to allow us to set up this stream. Coming off he went to EUIC recently.
He did. Yeah.
I don't think he did super well, but he is a very, very well-known player, very well-renowned and respected among the community. Typically well known for running Trick Room teams, a big fan of Dondozo, hates the slander, and one of the team Torkol as well.
Yeah, not running it at the moment, but he is a face that we get to see a lot around here, going for the top PP play points, which means attendance of the most individual official play Pokemon tournaments. I think he's at number 1 globally in terms of play points.
Global? It's definitely Australia. I didn't know it was global.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something we can check, but
Mr. Robeson
is a face who misses very, very few tournaments and running some spice today too.
So he has the biggest number accumulated towards his PP.
He's the PP master.
That is the PP
That's
master.
him.
That
he
is
the PP
fantastic.
master. Yeah,
and he. He is running what looks like a Trick Room team, not his classic. In fact, this is quite different for what I'm used to seeing from Robeson.
Yeah, man.
We have no Torkoal.
He's been switching it up a little bit recently.
We still have the good old classic Psy Spam. He loves his terrain. He loves to expand it forcibly. And on the other side, Pete, well known for running a large variety of teams. He's been running that Dawnwing's Necrozma for a long time. Ran it for most of Regulation G, the team that got top 8 at Japan Naps. Slightly different today, we have Necrozma's little cousin Lunala, the Lunadon team, Lunala Koraidon, which we're very familiar with and big fans of it here in Perth. Slightly different to the version we saw on stream. This is the more standardized version of Koraidon Lunala.
It's the second Lunala today that we've seen with only Moongeist and Meteor Beam, so only the Ghost type move to hit that to hit Mons with after using that Power Herb, unless you want to go for a 2-turn move, and like we mentioned that earlier, but we see now the game coming in, and it's a Flutterfish lead from Pete's side versus Calyrex, Ice, and Smeargle on Robeson's side.
Only one restricted. And just going back on that Lunala, the double beam with no moon, Moongeist, no moon, anyway.
No Moon Blast and no Psychic Stab.
So the matchup.
There's plenty of other offensive coverage on this team. Not one of these Mons struggling to deal damage for themselves. Koraidon, Chi-Yu, Flutter, Bonnet, and Ursaluna. And of course it is Bonnet getting that photosynthesis boost from the Koraidon if he can get it positioned like that. But not on the field right now. We do see the Chi-Yu switch coming out though.
Fanta and Pepsi. It looks like
Yes.
he has gone for a drinks theme for the names of his teams, but
A soft drinks thing.
But he's crossing corporations here. We have some Coca-Cola and some Pepsi. We are not bigoted here. We don't discriminate against whatever your favorite soda is.
I don't know what company owns each thing.
Fanta is owned. Fanta is made by Coca-Cola, and Pepsi is made by Pepsi Schweppes. Yes, yeah. Schweppesy.
We've got Smeargle tanking a crit Moonblast, but of course not mattering as it's got the Focus Sash, getting a Spore off, getting a few little frame drops, but that Spore going into the Flutter main.
My frames tend to drop when I get spored as well, so it's understandable.
Yeah. Makes your frames drop in real life. And the second Focus Sash Mon having its item cropped this turn from the Glacial Lance from the Kali Shadow, which I've just noticed is nicknamed ! That's very simple. That is certainly my reaction when I see a Calyrex, but no Trick Room out. No Trick Room out yet from either of these players. Lunala coming onto the field from Pete's side, so he can set it if he wants to, or he can go on the offense. The Water Terror coming out from Cali Ice, making it not too worried anymore about either of these moves from the Lunala, which both would have been super effective. But even if that was the case, Smeargle on the field still with Follow Me, and with that Flutter asleep, so not having to worry about being taken out first.
We have a player cam update. He's just looking up at the ceiling and running his hands through his hair. Maybe he didn't anticipate this turn going the way he had envisioned. Pepsi is now asleep. Smeargle the classic Sporer.
I looked away, outsped the Lunala, did it?
Yeah, I think it did actually, which is interesting. Let's have a
yeah. We didn't see the Lunala. It's not Scarf, but most Lunalas aren't running.
It's the Decorate one we're familiar with, and usually when they're running Decorate, we're used to seeing it being slower than the Calyrex that are under Trick Room. It can Decorate, but this one appears to be fast, so it can Decorate outside. Perhaps more reliant on the Spore and the redirection, perhaps wanting to have a fast Spore on that turn 1 when Fake Out is being threatened. No Farigiraf here to block the Fake Out. There is the Indeedee, but we haven't seen it come out yet. We're not sure if it's in the game. Both Terrestrializations out, 2 water type restricteds.
There's a certain logic to that, I think, having some speed on this Smeargle, because you're never going to start a game with Trick Room up as much as you have a team that might rely on it. So having some speed on that support mon can, evidently as you can see here, get some catch some mons off guard. But we see it still surviving thanks to its own spores with the Follow Me. But Chi-Yu, of course, having access to that strong spread, not going to do too much with the Snarl though to the Calyrex.
Just a little bit of spread shift, cover hitting that Smeargle.
Ooh, and we
despite that Shadow Shield being broken, that is a big chunk of damage, and we get an unfortunate frame drop. Right before we get to see where the Calyrex aims its attack.
It was the Chi-Yu, which is now gone.
Looks like it clicked, it clicked the Power of Forces into the fishy.
Taking a lot of KOs, but
maybe she's born with that.
Maybe it's high horsepower.
I always love them. I love the nickname meta in Perth. It's always fantastic to see.
I'm a big fan of nicknames.
Yeah, it's been a consistent thing. We all love our nicknames. We've all got our own. Some of them may be a little bit controversial from time to time. Some are more linear. Some of us like to name them after our favorite.
I don't know if we're going to get
artists,
nicknames.
or in this case, we're looking at probably our favorite beverages.
I don't know if we're going to get nicknames for Melbourne or not, but I did just send a couple of my mons back to Sword and Shield so that I can change their nicknames to things which won't get me disqualified.
Completely understandable. I don't think we will, because they'll be having us playing on the dock and connecting through
through the LAN.
What's it called? The party you join?
Party Union
Festival?
Circle.
Union Circle. There we go.
Right.
Yeah. You think I'd know that?
That's a real shame, honestly. I like. I mean, I guess I get why they have to do it, but the nicknames are all so good.
I quite enjoyed my Iron Bundle in Perth 2023. Good times. Anyway, out comes a non-nicknamed Pokemon.
The Lunala.
Lunala exclamation mark. So the way this Pokemon arrived at me going, Lunala? Speaking of Lunala.
And the second mon to move, setting the Trick Room, calling it correctly, and preventing Robeson from setting up his own Trick Room. I was gonna say that Calyrex taken some solid KOs this game, but looking low and out of Trick Room in front of Pete with both of his restricteds. Of course, there is the normal type Indeedee in the back now, we know, for Robeson, so
that was an absolutely crazy. It's not like we don't see the Trick Room reversal, but making the read here, this Koraidon now sitting safely in front of that Calyrex would be in a lot of trouble. Had that turn gone wrong and Pete just clicked, Robeson just clicked Glacial Lance instead, we would be looking at a very different situation now, but the game is well truly alive.
No protects coming out from either mons. Shadow Shield is nuts. Flare Blitz coming out. That is the clear amulet Koraidon, so not that extra life orb boost that we are seeing on a lot of these mons, but breaking the Shadow Shield and Moongeist Beam not going to finish off the Lunala, but is going to pick up that Calyrex Ice now. So coming down to just the Lunala and the Indeedee on Robeson's side versus Pete. Expanding Force though coming out from Robeson's Lunala, and that is going to pick up.
Wow, the Lunala just didn't take any damage from that.
Yeah, holding on. I mean, big chip on a tanky Mon, but absolutely destroying that Koraidon with super effective damage. I think that's Pete's last Mon now. And with, yes it is, and with no spread and a normal type redirecting Mon on Robeson's side, not clicking the follow me though. And Lunala getting taken out, but with a crit.
Is so good.
I somehow doubt that happened. I somehow doubt that mattered rather.
No, I don't.
But Indeedee opting instead of follow me, opting just to pick up that KO with Alluring Voice.
Is a cool tech move to be running here. Getting yourself that nice little bit of fairy coverage.
That would get you. That'd also get you a confusion if you clicked it into a Lunala that Moongeisted. I mean, Meteor Beamed that turn.
That's pretty funny.
So,
It's pretty funny.
yeah, there's quite a few stat boosting mons that it could pick up the confusion on in this meta.
You would be pretty unhappy if you suffered from that. So Peter, I think Peter's target priority in that game was fantastic, but Robeson's positional game was just as strong. Pete getting that turn right with the Trick Room reversal didn't end up mattering as we saw, but these are two very, very highly skilled technical players. They have sat across the table from each other many times. We've seen them in top cuts, we've seen them in finals, we've seen both of them pick up their share of victories against one another.
And it of course means that they know each other quite well, so getting in each other's heads, I think we can...
Dr. Pepper, I don't think is... okay, so we have a little bit of a lean towards... slight lean towards Coca-Cola here, with Coke, Sprite and Fanta, and then Schweppes taking two places, and Dr. Pepper just kind of alone out there. I guess it's not for everybody. I don't like it. I've
never tried it.
I don't enjoy it. It's not a nice flavor to me. A lot
What's
of people
it
like it.
What's it taste like?
I don't know. Just imagine like, when you put Vegemite on your toast, you've got to put it very, very thinly, right? Because
Just a
it's
tiny
really,
bit?
Yeah. So imagine just like that thin layer of Vegemite, but in a liquid form and carbonated. There's your Dr. Pepper. That's probably not a good description.
It's not salty, is it?
No, it certainly doesn't have the absurd fucking sodium chloride content.
It's not got
Vegemite.
Does Dr. Pepper have salt in it? Weigh in chat. Let us know.
I don't think so. I think it's like
what is the sodium content of Dr.
It's similarly like a yeast. It's like non-alcoholic beer. I don't know. I can't describe it.
Maybe the bonnet is
I've had
called.
it in a while, to be fair.
If it is salty, maybe the bonnet's called Dr. Pepper because it spores people and makes them salty.
Vegeta, I like this, and now we're seeing another way to potentially boost this Calyrex. We haven't seen Annihilate in a long time. We love Winton in Western Australia. I especially love my Winton. This is a Scarf Annihilate, the classic Scarf. Well, not classic anymore. It was the Scarf Final Gambit to get yourself that Trick Room set up and eliminate one of your opponent's Pokemon, where these Follow Me Mons are kind of a bit passive. He's still got two Pokemon to take care of, but it's also got the coaching if instead he just wants to boost that Calyrex immediately and go on the offense.
That's true. As someone who's been playing with coaching, very nice to have for these, especially for these strong physical restricteds. Can use it into the Okie Dokie as well, but not something that we've seen a lot for Scarf Annihilate recently in current metas. But Robeson bringing it out, and we'll see how it works. No lead matchup changes for Pete in this game, despite losing the last one, but a lead matchup change from Robeson, despite again the Smeagol giving so much trouble last game. But Annihilate
so easy
gonna get
to
out.
forget how bulky Annihilate actually is. We haven't seen it in such a long time. It's 110 HP stat, 80 or 90 special defense.
Gonna get
out
sped.
But you'd expect it's like max speed, max HP. That took so much.
And a crit from the Shadow Ball, taking the Cali Ice down to half. But once again, Robeson not opting to set Trick Room on this first turn with his Calyrex, just taking the coaching boost and going for a Glacial Lance. Going to do about 3/4 to the Chi-Yu and drop the Flutter to Sash.
That crit's going to be really important here. This Calyrex might have survived the next turn.
True.
Picking up a double knockout here, going up to +3 with 2 Mons in the back. That critical hit though, that Calyrex is now probably going to go down this turn.
Of course,
RNGs is certainly
if
in his
the
favor at the moment.
if the Shadow Ball did that much on a crit, then of course it would have to be a double up to pick it up. Overheat gonna miss though into the Annihilate, enabling it to get another coaching up, and Fluttermane assumably not gonna be able to pick up this KO with the Moonblast, doing more than a Shadow Ball, but
There it is.
nope, never mind, it is gonna take it out. So despite the
Leaves
overheat missing and leaving that Annihilate alive, Flutter going to be able to take out the +2 boosted Cali Ice, which would have definitely run rampant through.
RNGs is active right now, currently watching over us, but this turn might actually end up being a lot more beneficial for Pete, because the Annihilate is now stuck on the field, locked into very low HP, and if we have a look at Brendan's team, there aren't a lot of physical attackers to take advantage of this.
True, only the Okidogi.
Which does not want to really come and sit in front of these guys.
wasn't in last matchup, so presumably not going to be here this matchup either. So that's an Annihilate which also outsped by the Chi-Yu, so even if Robeson did want to leave it in this turn, is not really.
That's
not really in a great position.
Good for Brendan. Whatever else he's got in the back, he wants in that Annihilate slot. This Smeagol's going to want to try and click a Spore and hold on. The coaching locked Annihilate doesn't want to be on the field. Weirdly, the crit being crucial for getting rid of the Calyrex Ice, and then the overheat miss potentially being one of those rare times where you want to not land your hit.
Yeah, genuinely, it seems quite a helpful overheat miss here for Pete, because Robeson out of position is going to withdraw the Annihilate. Not really much else he can do there.
This is a
into
good
the
play.
Lunala.
This is a very good play. He's trying to make this read here that the Smeagol has to be doubled up. It's got the Focus Sash. It's got access to Spore. It's a big threat. He's making the read. He's got to manually remove the Annihilate from the field.
And we saw what Pete clicked. That Smeagol is going to get doubled up and outsped, so that there's no Spore, there's no Decorate. Lunala coming in here, and Annihilate going to get to come back in unlocked from whatever it clicked before, but Chi-Yu still outspeeding it. It is minus 4 now, or 6,
Chi
but
outspeeding it, but yeah, it's locked into its move.
But
it's
honestly,
minus 4.
minus 4 overheat, probably still picking up that KO on the Annihilate, wouldn't you say?
It most likely will, but what's the Annihilate going to lock in here? Because we haven't seen Pete use his terrestrialization yet, so a close combat into the Chi-Yu could be bounced by a terrestrialization, trying to make a read on the Shadow Claw, and it doesn't will do nothing.
Pete actually switching.
The Fluttermane having the option to be able to click Protect if it wants to, but this Koraidon switch is really nice here as well. Photosynthesis is activated. Fluttermane is now going to be moving before this Annihilate. We would expect.
Pete has taken the secret alternate route and uses the Flutter to outspeed the Scarf Annihilate instead of the Chi-Yu, both being able to get Sun up, switch his Chi-Yu out to reset the special attack drops, and get his Koraidon in, but it will take over half from a big Lunala Moongeist beam.
But this Lunala not going to be able to click its spread move here. We didn't see Indeedee. There's no Psychic Terrain. There's no Expanding Force here. It's a 3v1 for a Mon that's only got single target moves, and that's the concession there. We have a game on our hands.
We do. We've got a match. We're in game 3 now. Robeson seeing the writing on the wall there. Not going to be able to come back from that one and just conceding.
If that overheat had have connected and the Annihilate went down, we've got a Lunala and a Smeagol. In front of a Chi-Yu that's locked into overheat. The Smeagol gets the option to potentially redirect, or even just try to throw out a Spore.
Yeah.
The Lunala has the option to click Trick Room.
It can fake out the Chi-Yu slot. That
Yes.
Lunala is not going to be...
I'm not sure if the game changes,
Lunala's
but there
not
is
threatened
the
with KO.
potential that the Lunala can pick up that reverse sweep all of a sudden. That
Lunala's-
Chi-Yu wanting to switch out to reset itself.
Lunala's a tanky Mon, and if it had gotten Trick Room up, even though it would have had to go through 3 of Pete's Mons, possible that could have happened. The Flutterfish lead has worked quite well for him in the past 2 games, but of course does have the option to switch things up if he wants. Robeson, we've not seen the Okie Dokie yet, presumably because it doesn't fare too well into some of these mons. Although a tanky mon,
it's nice. It's not the assault vest version we're familiar with that can just
Life
sit in
orb.
front of the Lunala all day.
Ooh,
It does have the knockoff though.
That's a bomb of an Okie
to be
Dokie.
able to, but
Life Orb.
the Terra is very interesting on it. You don't really want to be clicking Terra Grass when you're staring down a Koraidon. I don't think it has the damage to be able to beat out a Koraidon either.
Well, looks
if
like it's
Lunala clicks the Terrestrialization, I don't know if you want to bring the Okie Dokie here. Personally, I wouldn't, but
Well,
Robeson
looks-
is a much more accomplished player than I.
Looks like it's a Trick Room. Threat that does well into Incin with the guard dog. But I would be interested to hear from Robeson, even though we've not seen it. Would be interested to hear from him what it's for. But game 3 here, and we see the first lead matchup, the first lead switch up from Pete, leading with Flutter Koraidon this time, setting up the Sun immediately. But Robeson threatening the fake out with the Smeargle. Could go for the Spore, but then would risk getting doubled up and KO'd by both of Pete's mons. But then again, of course, all of these options allow Robeson to just pretty much do whatever he wants on this turn 1 with the Calyrex. In previous games, hasn't chosen to set Trick Room at all, has just chosen to take down damage, take KOs. Didn't work so well for him in the first game. Did work well in the first game, didn't work so well in the second game, you were going to say?
Off topic here, but Sprite and Sunkist on the field right now. Coca-Cola versus Pepsi Schweppesy. Who wins? You decide. Epic rap battle from history would be so good right now, but anyway, I'll stop that while the turn commences.
Okay, that fake out is going to come out, stopping that Koraidon from being able to do anything. Fluttermane dropping the Smeargle down to its Focus Sash. And again, a Glacial Lance coming out from Robeson. There has been no turn 1 Trick Rooms from this team that is so advantageous under Trick Room. Just opting to take damage before setting it up, and seems to know the matchup well enough to see that it's working.
This is a fairly played team. He may have matchup knowledge here. Wanting to stagger the Trick Room is not such a bad thing to do either. The fake out onto the Koraidon, confirming that it can't move, scouting out that Terrestrialization, preserving his own. If Trick Room goes up, it'll be staggered for a turn. You'd have to assume that Smeagle's going to get removed this turn. It wasn't going to get removed turn 1. A Trick Room set here could give Robeson that free switch that he wants to have and really give him the option to be able to pull up the reverse sweep. He hasn't set Trick Room at all so far this set though, as you mentioned.
No, he hasn't, except for that one turn that Pete immediately unset it.
But yeah, this Smeagol Calyrex leads so good right now. I think the stagger on the Trick Room set is really, really good here.
Getting some damage down before it goes up, so that Pete can't just click Protect and reposition to stall it out. We've got the Terra Water coming down though, and we'll see if he'll opt to get it up this turn.
I think we're going to see it. We've got the
Or-
me. I think we're going to see it.
Do you think
He wants the Smeagol to go down here.
Do you think High Horsepower would pick up the Koraidon from this position or not?
I'm not sure. I don't think you go for it though.
I don't think he does either, but we'll see. Pete calling the Terror and going for the collision course. Not going to KO short of crit. Not even
half.
Not even half.
Wow.
And that Trick Room is
There it
going to be
is.
set up by Robeson, uninterrupted for the first time in this best of 3. And we'll see what he's got in the back to bring out.
This is so big. You're right. Getting that damage down. He's used his turn 1 to break the sash. He doesn't need to use 2 turns of Trick Room to do that. Maybe 3 when the Protect comes out. He's deliberately sacked his own Smeagol. The position is really strong right now.
Yeah, and smart play from a player who has played a lot of Trick Room in his day, so clearly knowing the pacing of these kinds of teams. And Pete now having to navigate, having Trick Room set up, an Indeedee and a fairly healthy Calyrex on the field against his relatively vulnerable Koraidon. Can Protect, of course, with both mons. This Flutter does have Protect? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But lots of tasty potential KOs for that Calyrex.
There's definitely a read coming in here. Is it going to be a Glacial Lance to take out the Fluttermane and chip this Koraidon? Or is the read for Protect coming and is the high horsepower going to come into the Koraidon? What you'd expect the Indeedee, which is probably going to click follow me here. That's its job right now, is to just keep this Calyrex healthy for another turn or two.
Pete opting not to use any of his Protect on this turn, just wanting to lay down some damage, I suppose, knowing that the Calyrex can't KO both of his Mons at once, so just opting to get some damage down, and we'll see how much this Indeedee takes from...
Flare Blitz might just knock itself out here.
It was a collision course, so not going to take that recoil. Not Life Orb, of course, so not going to take that recoil either, but collision course, doing less damage than the Flare Blitz, not going to pick up the KO. Lunala, though, coming out from...
And the Flare Blitz would have KO'd that, but then this Calyrex, this Koraidon would have probably not knocked itself out, but been very close. At the very least, it would have been in range of another Glacial Lance, and then Robeson wouldn't have to sit there and click high horsepower. He'd be able to lance for the game. It's at +1.
It's a +1 lance now. Honestly, it might already be in range. We'll have to see. It looks like it might be close.
I think it lives on red.
Checking the Trick Room turns. Lunala having the option to wide guard to try and block a lance, or lay damage down, or try and unset that Trick Room. Curious to see how it's going to go.
We're gonna have.
He's really thinking about it.
A read heavy game, a read heavy turn here.
He is going to attempt to unset, and he is going to protect his Koraidon. Able to do that because he chose not to double last turn. Thoughtful, forward-thinking plays coming in clutch here for Pete, and that protect blocking the high horsepower too.
But so we did not see the Trick Room reversal from the Indeedee there.
No, Indeedee opting instead to...
I love Lunala.
Opting instead to just pop that Shadow Shield. I love Lunala too. Did I tell you I tell you I've been running Giratina, but
Yes.
just yesterday I've dropped it for Lunala.
This is a really interesting turn now. Robeson, you'd think, is going to want to set Trick Room here. This Indeedee is going down. The Koraidon will move first. I don't know if the Lunala has the legs or the wings, or this thing is based on, to take out the Calyrex from this HP. But this Indeedee is definitely going down here. There is the Chiyu in the back of Scarlet though.
It is, so not gonna do well in Trick Room. Pete's gonna want to try and prevent any Trick Room from going up. Could, of course, make another prediction, but Robeson known for just making offensive plays here instead of
helping hand.
Instead of setting Trick Room, and here we see
going down. We're just gonna go for damage. This helping hand.
Collision course going into the Indeedee. No follow me required. Taking it out, and I'm pretty sure that a Terrid Calyrex can live a Moongeist or a Meteor Beam. Although close, I'm very curious.
This helping hand might be the difference maker. I think now the Koraidon is in this
with that. And that alluring voice from last turn, popping the Shadow Shield. If it lives here...
It's at +1 with Helping Hand, basically +2. It could take the Lunala.
He's gonna live. Let's see how much damage this Helping Hand +1 Glacial Lance does. It does take out
goes down.
both KOs.
Holy...
Goodness me. And now Robeson still with, what, one Mon in the back that hasn't been revealed? And Pete with his Chiyu. So a 2v2, no Trick Room, but two very, very big KOs. No, sorry, a 1v2, but with a very, very low HP horse that has unequivocally done its job here. Calyrex low enough that something like a Snarl or a Heatwave could pick this up, but of course you can't just go for those spread moves in this situation for free, because Robeson, having access to the wide guard, if he so chooses, could...
He also doesn't have a way to hit. He's running Moongeist Beam Expanding Force.
Oh,
so
that's a good point.
He doesn't have a lot of damage to put onto this Chiyu.
Lunala, not really much able to hit. Okay, the Calyrex looking somewhat vulnerable here. Pete opting to lock a move. There is a winning play for Robeson here, and it is it's that. It's the
protect?
It's the protect. It's the protect on the. It's the protect on the horse to block the Dark Pulse, and then the Lunala can set that Trick Room for free.
Yikes.
And now the incredibly boosted horse is going to underspeed the Chiyu.
I don't want to prematurely call it, but I think that's what she
A very difficult position for Pete to be in, to have to make those reads. A Dark Pulse into the Lunala, had he read that, probably wouldn't even have killed with the Shadow Shield available. Glacial Lance, and that's all she wrote.
I think it would have.
You think?
Yeah, it's not specs boosted, but it is Beads of Ruin. There's 4 times.
You can definitely calc it to live.
You probably could from specs, I'd say, or from Scarf, I'd say. Yeah,
I know you can. I'm running Sire's Lunala spread that's specifically calced to live both a Chen Power Throat Chop or a Scarf Modest Chiyu Dark Pulse. So it is possible to calc a Lunala to live both and still be Modest Nature.
Such a rough endgame there. Pete definitely.
Robeson put him in a real spot there. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had the ability to win that game on making a certain read, but such a big threat from that wide guard. You can't lock in. I feel like you would anticipate the protect to scout whether the wide guard's necessary, but then of course it just comes down to making these reads. That was a game. That was a very, very close
Really
game.
well played to both players, though. That was a back and forth, and it looked pretty close at all points of that. At all points of that best of 3. Pete gonna take a little break. Of course, these very close intellectual kind of back and forth games.
Certainly mentally draining. I don't do it much anymore, but I've done more than my share of these dances at locals and regionals.
Hopefully he can take 5 and bounce back.
It can certainly take a toll on the mentality. There's a lot of fatigue that goes on as well. Even though this is only a small tournament, it's a short tournament. Like I said, this was a very technical game. It's probably not going to be long before the next round begins.
And these two guys, they really try their hardest, particularly against each other. They are here to practice for Melbourne, and they've got so much history of playing against each other that they're both going to try as hard as they can to outmaneuver each other. So definitely a lot of effort put in from both sides. But you want to interview Robeson?
Yeah.
Or shall I?
Would you like to come over? You know what? You interview him. I'll go step outside, take a quick break, and I'll go have a quick chat to Pete and see how the game went for him.
See how he's going.
Warren, while you're here, I'll return those to you.
Thank you.
And I think this is one as well. Yeah, that was Chris's one.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In the meantime, before we have our little interview with Robeson, we've had Matt Slocum beat out Joel Howe down at the bottom table. Baguli beat out Ben, turning around his fortunes early on. Alfie beating out Mark, turning around his fortunes, the Cologne dropper himself, and Chris taking out Ashley as becoming the other 3-0 player now left going into this third round of the tournament. So, Robeson,
hello.
How you feeling, man? That was one hell of a set.
Yeah, feeling good. All the games were pretty close, so yeah, happy to have won.
Yeah. Pete, you can see going outside to take a little break. Like, I really love watching you two verse each other, because like you've both versed each other so many times.
Yes.
You're both such smart players, and like I could see that both of you like really put in maximum effort to try and outmaneuver each other. So
yeah, I swear every challenge and cup we verse each other like first, second round normally.
yeah. It was good to watch. That was that was round 3. Yeah, so round 4. Yeah.
Slightly later today.
Yeah. What was your what were your thoughts though going into that game 3? After
game 2, I went the Annihilate mode. I think the crit made it hard for me to get Trick Room up, but
it did.
I didn't want to risk Annihilate again game 3, so I went with the Smeagol combo.
Yeah, you had like 2 unlucky things happen in kind of the same time there. Hey, the crit dropping your Calyrex below half, not letting it sort of be able to take a double the next turn, and the overheat missing the Annihilate, so not taking it out. Kind of left you in an awkward spot, right, with that still on the field.
Yeah, pretty annoying, but what can you do?
Well, that's what you can do is adjust for game 3. Saying to Sliff on the commentary, seeing how all 3 of those games you've not opted to set up Trick Room on the first turn or even the second turn for a couple of the games, just like getting damage down before you set it up, right? And like really showed why that's valuable in the last game. Like, is that something that you're actively thinking about a lot?
Yeah, both games I felt comfortable setting Trick Room up later in the match, so I thought might as well chip everything, break the figure stash and set Trick Room up later in the game so it lasts longer, get some damage on, and then I can sweep later.
It worked out too, yeah. I'm a fan of Trick Room myself, but a little bit of a masterclass from you here, I think. The premier Trick Room player I think that we've got here. I think you've definitely played the most out of anyone I can think of, but it really showed how useful that was. Like, because once you got that Trick Room up, Pete with both of his mons chipped had to make tougher calls. Like, I think he played pretty well trying to maneuver in that Trick Room, right? But
yeah, I was quite worried he would bring Ursaluna because that can obviously do well in Trick Room as well. And I think that was another reason why I kind of wanted to Glacial Lance to begin with, because last time I versed him, he was very aggressive in switching it in turn 1.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to punish if he did make that switch, expecting me to just set Trick Room up and then he could sweep.
Yeah, right. And that would have been Ursaluna. I think most spreads live 1 Glacial Lance though, which is wild to me. Just such a bulky mon, but still, like, would catch it and bring it real low. Hey. Yeah. I guess Pete, maybe remembering that's how he played last time and knowing that you'd probably read it, or not wanting to deal with the speed tie, right? Because you're both going to be min speed base 50, right?
Maybe.
Assuming of course that that's what they're running. No confirmation from either side, as we haven't seen any speed ties to kind of confirm or deny that. Not gonna ask you to reveal your secrets, of course, even if it wasn't a week out from a regional. So you're 3-0 now. You're going to be playing Chris next.
I'm 2-1.
You're 2-1.
Yeah,
okay.
So I got to win the next one to stay in it.
That was the you're both 1-1, weren't you? Yeah.
I'm not sure about Pete, but
Pete was 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that means that Pete's Chris rather is the only 3-0. So you do have there is a chance that you verse him now, like being 2-1 with probably good resistance if there's no other 3-0.
True. He beat me last time, so if I do verse him, hopefully I can get my revenge.
Yeah. The other options would be, have you versed Ashley yet?
No.
No, so she's 2-1, you could verse her. Dan's 2-1 now, you could verse him. Slocum's 2-1, but you versed him in round 1, didn't you? No, you didn't.
No,
that was Jamie. So, Chris, Ashley, Matt, or Dan, I think, as the options for you for next round.
Awesome. Well, I think the next round's about to start, so I better quickly rush off and get ready.
Don't let me keep you. Do what you need.
Thanks.
Thanks for
hopefully
chatting.
I am on the table again later.
Yeah, man. I'll see you in cut.
See ya.
And thanks very much for sticking with us, everybody who's still here. We are in our brief break between rounds 3 and 4. Next round, of course, being the last round of Swiss before we get our top cut of 4 going. So 3 more matches left for this stream. And the stakes getting higher and higher. Hey man, how you feeling? All right? after that, that was pretty intense, wasn't it? Alright everybody, welcome back. We've got our round 4 underway. We've got Ashley Coe versus Benjamin O'Neill on the stream match.
And
they
this
are
is
2-1 apiece.
Yep, winning in because unfortunately we got less people. We thought everybody would be keen, and probably three ones, or maybe there'll be a bubble. I'd have to.
No,
check.
I'm
think it's
looking.
clean.
I'm looking at it, and it's looking like it's going to be a clean in. There should be three 3-1s after
Yep.
this round, unless something funky happens in one of the pair ups. Robeson could, if Robeson upsets Chris, something funky could happen.
Then we might have a bubble out.
But I believe that's the only uneven pairing. Yeah, but we'll have to see. All right, getting into matches.
And as we were talking about earlier as well, Ashley's relationship with Kyogre come to an end, but her relationship with Tornadus, the polyamorous relationship that they shared, is now monogamous. Tornadus is well and truly the little partner that could. I don't know where I was going. I couldn't. We're rolling with it, and Ashley's rolling with it too, because Tornadus is still on her team. But Lunala and Zacian, a bit of a change-up. Two Pokemon I don't really see Ashley play all that often. Big fan of Lunala, slightly less of a fan of Zacian.
Here you go. I've got sheets up. It's Ben 2 to the right, Ashley.
Oh, I forgot to grab her, grab their sheets. Whoops, my bad.
That's all right.
Fine.
We've got them here if you want. So
Ben doing some interesting stuff. Ben known for running what would look like a Metacore on the outskirts with a little bit of a Meta Call, similar to what we see with Chris Ma with his Flare, his Entei, his sneaky tech moves on his Whimsicott.
he's a bit of an independent chef. Yeah, often rocking up to these tournaments with cooks that he's made totally himself that make sense. Often only in his own head, but usually, yeah, working out really well. Like honestly, a building strategy that I really admire and aspire to. Of like just looking at these mons that aren't considered by a lot of other players, like the Metagross here, and seeing and saying, I can see that this works really well into these particular things.
I think it is? Let's have a look at this sheet. It
is Electric Seed Metagross.
It is not
with the body
what
press.
I thought it was. Okay, it does have body press. Oh no, yes, sorry, I was looking wrong. Yeah, it is. It's seed press Metagross. It is indeed. That is a very unusual pick.
Seed press Metagross. It's got a very high defense stat. Psychic Fangs to get rid of screens.
It is Terra fighting as well to give itself that stab boost.
Bullet
and
Punch
it doesn't
probably
share any weaknesses when it terrors.
Bullet Punch really good into the flutters of the meta, and paired pretty well with offensive coverage from this Miraidon and the Ho-Oh. It's interesting. We've seen a bit of a surge in Ho-Oh recently. Thanks
to a top 8 placement.
Yeah, a mon that matches decently into Kali Shadow, well into Zamazenta, and very well into Koraidon, unless it's the less common scale shot variant of the Koraidon.
I really wish Sai was here today, because he's been one of the biggest supporters of Ho. He's been running Ho-Oh in every format where it's been legal.
Drax too.
He's been talking about it for a long time, and now here
you
it is.
See that body press coming out, doing about a third to the Zacian.
Might have done the half on the Terra there, but maybe not willing to drop the Terra just yet. The Ho-Oh taking chip though.
But yeah, we've got Ben's team built quite a lot around this Miraidon electric terrain. It's the AV Miraidon, so no info about the set, but a bit of a bulkier Miraidon here with one screen from the Whimsicott, having that light screen, and both Metagross and Iron Treads taking advantage of that electric terrain. Metagross with the seed and Iron Treads with the boost, but Treads, of course, having booster energy as well, interestingly, so that it can still roll away the terrain, but still have the speed advantage, which is very interesting.
We can talk about the set as well, because even though the players are right next to us, they do have each other's team sheets, of course.
They do.
The Miraidon with Dragon Pulse, Dazzling Gleam, as you'd normally expect. Electro Drift Volt switch. So opting for Dragon Pulse over to Draco Meteor. It's not a choice spec set, so you're not going to be taking out every second mon in the format with Draco Meteor. AV means it wants to stick around, have some staying power. So just opting for a more consistent version of Miraidon rather than the nuke we're more familiar with.
Some noise coming from down the bottom end of the table. We've got Mark and Joel, two very long-time friends fighting each other, and something funny happening probably.
A little bit of fun. You like to see that. On these higher-end tables, the players are a bit more immersed. They're going for this top cut position, wanting to get a little bit of extra CP before going into the regional. Also some experience, a bit of practice before going into that regional.
Look at that, the Terra Fairy player up, picking up the KO and the Ho-Oh through the resist. Zation with the attack boost and the Terra boost. Doing a lot of damage and then resisting that body press.
That is a very... The low kick not doing much, but that is a very nice play by Ashley there. Covering for the potential for the Ho-Oh to Terra. Using that Terra boost herself. If it doesn't Terra, she's still getting the knockout. Fairy is an incredibly good Terra type on this Zation because it gives it the double stab, but also doesn't share any weaknesses, as its weaknesses are omitted by the natural steel typing.
Because steel just pairs so well with Fairy that it gets to both be a stab and defensive Terra. That's really good. Something that Zation going for it that not a lot of other mobs do.
Zation is certainly back in the fold here. We haven't seen we didn't see it in Reg G. We saw the odd one here and there making a day 2 at an NA regional. But always more that supportive restricted role in 2022 where it supported its friends and helped cover it, and once again filling that niche. We never saw it as a solo carry, but now it is it's a good doggo. It's the bestest boy.
It's a very good doggo.
It's the friend, and unfortunately a little bit of a frame drop there. Apologies.
It's alright. Metagross going down. Did Zation take a bullet punch that turn? We'll have to wait until we see the HP bars come back up to see. No bullet punch out into the Zation there, which not sure if it would have taken it out or not, but
I don't think so. Zation's natural bulk is obscene. This thing is an absolute stat monster. Huge base stat total. Way faster than it has any right to be. Incredible bulk next to that huge attack stat. It is so optimized.
Everything they put out in Sword and Shield, legendary wise, just had like stupid good base stat spreads, right? Like
the last two generations.
Shifu, both of the dogs, both of the Calirexes, even Eternatus to some degree, even though it doesn't see much play, still has a really good stat spread. Like hitting 130 speed and still managing to be stupid bulky. And have 145 special attack, but
we look at these two teams. The majority of Pokemon from both of these teams came from this generation alone, these last two generations. But Power Creep is a discussion for, I think, probably a Wolf Bleak video.
And indeed I did say that I would be doing the play-by-play, so I better stop getting us sidetracked talking about team sheets and other things.
That's completely fine.
We see two Fairy-type moves coming out from Ben's side, the Terra Fairy, but Wild Charge from Ashley's hands, going into the Miraidon.
From Ashley's hands. Catch these hands.
Gonna be taking it quite low, but KOing itself with the recoil. Hands, even with such a thick HP stat, low enough to be taken out just by that recoil. And Ashley now thinking about
that there
what
was no double up into that hands there. Perhaps a predicted switch, or just wanting
wanting to take
chip
out
this
the
Lunala, knowing that it's going to take a little while.
Chip the Shadow Shield. We know that Lunala is difficult to take out even with a double unless you've got the right moves. So
and there's no electric terrain anymore, so we're not going to see this Miraidon drop a big electro drift to remove it.
True. Does Ben have the ability to switch? Doesn't look like he does. So terrain not up for him, and nothing he can do about that. Ashley now in a pretty decent situation, but Ben does have the tailwind up and does have the pressure that an Encore Whimsicott puts out, which is, the kind of thing you have to be careful about what to click against.
Indeed.
Follow me from the Ogerpon.
Play correctly here, not get herself locked in. Follow me will give her a little bit of leniency though when it comes to wanting to dodge those on-calls. A double up
Big
here
Dragon
with the
Pulse,
higher
Moonblast
moves.
not going to take it out.
Wow.
And a Trick Room from Ashley's side,
Assault Vest
circumventing that tailwind.
Assault Vest, no choice specs, no electric terrain, no Draco Meteor, just not doing enough to this Ogerpon that you would have to assume is not Volt invested because it's got that sturdy ability. It just was not enough.
And the encore there going into the cornerstone, which surprising there, even though it didn't go for the follow me. Encore could have locked that Lunala into Trick Room, forcing it to reset, but no, going into the cornerstone and forcing it to click follow me again.
Actually making a crazy read there. She could have definitely been locked into the Trick Room. I guess if that had have happened though, we're seeing the Cudgel come out. The Miraidon is going down this turn either way. There's still a Mon in the back. Her position is very, very commanding.
She put herself in a good spot.
And now it's Whimsicott against the world. We've seen this happen a few times, and I don't think we've seen it happen successfully. Whimsicott does a lot of things, but reverse sweep is not typically one of them.
No, not this one. Although I will say I have been swept by a growth chlorophyll Whimsicott before. It has happened.
That is funny.
It clicked growth, and something else set sun, and then it dynamaxed.
Wow.
Because this was back in the glorious days of any mon with the right coverage to have boosting D-max moves, just being able to be a sweeping threat unto itself. But
Ben believing in the mantra that where there's a whims, there's a way. Perhaps just trying to scout for what Ashley wants to do, get an idea of how she wants to play, maybe just suss out some damage numbers. Maybe that Moonblast was going into the Lunala to get an idea how much damage it would have done, but of course the Ogre was onboarding to follow me by his own hand. Assuming Whimsicott has hands, it has to have them to provide the encore.
It's like a little bean feet and little bean hands on its body. It's like this.
A cotton puff with beans. How adorable.
But game one being taken out pretty handily by Ashley, looking to secure her spot in cut. Thanks, Warren. Making up for our lack of a face cam today by taking some event photos here.
With a phone cam.
Yeah. Thanks again to Warren for being a judge today. Rocking up after 10:30, which is when the event was meant to start, but rocking up nonetheless, and that is what matters, really.
The tournament has gone underway. We had our round one technical issue. The show had to go on. Our show didn't, but the show of showing your opponent's team on your Switch happened for all the other players. Anyway, that was a very commanding game by Ashley. The Metagross didn't. It's a pretty heavy guy, but it wasn't pulling its weight in that first round. The Ho-Oh, unfortunately, came into a bit of damage, and then we never got to see it have much of an impact. The Miraidon, of course, provides a threat, but when two of your potential sweepers have gone down early and it's just a Whimsicott in the back, the reverse sweep is very difficult to pull off, having to make a few of the correct reads, perhaps hoping that your opponent will misplay or outplay themselves, overplay a turn.
How did
Ho-Oh play to the outs.
How did Ho-Oh take so much damage on turn 1? Was that from hands? Is that from like a wild charge?
Was it a wild charge?
I know it was the player off that.
It switched in and.
I know it was the player off that took it out. Right, it switched into.
We should definitely be better at observations. We're trying to call this game.
We'll watch back the set. We'll watch it back. But we see here a different lead from Ben and same lead from Ashley. We've got the Treads hitting the field and Ho-Oh. Treads getting its little boosty booster, so gonna be the fastest thing on the field despite no electric terrain just yet. Ashley with the option to fake out, and Ho-Oh with, I believe, the option to set Tailwind if it wants. Yes, it's the standard Brave Bird Sacred Protect Tailwind, but
it's named Ho-Oh.
It is.
That's actually cool. Yeah, yeah, it's a fair name.
There is a Life Orb on this Ho-Oh, so dealing more damage than the standard. But
Sai would be very happy with this. You'd be very happy with Ho-Oh.
Life Orb Ho-Oh taking 2 rounds of recoil if it clicks Brave Bird. Let's see how this turn's going to play out. We've got a Terrestrialization onto the Zation.
Ooh, immediate defensive terror. There's no terrain to be seen, so it cannot roll any steel that way, protecting against those fire or ground type moves coming out.
Protect from both mons. Yeah.
But Ben probably, you'd think, anticipating this terror here, perhaps just scouting it, but let's dodge a little fake out.
Yeah, resetting that momentum so he doesn't have to worry about not being able to move from one of his mons and scouting the Sacred Sword into the treads.
Both players just playing very safely here, taking it slow. We're kind of used to seeing this when there's a fake out lead. The double protect is one of the most classic moves in VGC, at least on turn 1. In the later turns, it gets a little bit dicier. You can easily lose momentum.
And here comes the Ho-Oh switch out, presumably to, into the Miraidon to set electric terrain so that that steel roller can go down. Will the Zacian live this? This is...
It's booster speed, right? The treads.
Yes, it is.
It's 130 base power.
Yeah.
So
if that Zacian doesn't go down, that's a Terra Fairy play rough aimed right into the Miraidon slot. So
it's Terra Ground.
It's Terra Ground. Okay. So don't know if it is going to go for the roller, and it is going to KO the Zacian. Damn, a lot of damage coming out. I guess not the highest offensive stat from the treads, but it is a 140 base power move.
Yep, super effective.
And Zacian presumably not got much bulk trained into it, so...
This is a great turn 1 here, turn 2 here by Ben. Turn 1 to just scout the option. The moment the terrestrialization came out on the Zacian, he knew what had to be done next.
And terrain down now for Ben, still having that speed boost on the treads. That is, I'm now seeing the advantage of having a booster on it, is that the booster stays as terrain goes up and down and up and down and up and down, so that he can steal roller as many times as he wants and he'll still be at the higher speed tier, even if terrain's not up. But
I'm curious about something that he played on this turn, but unfortunately we can't say until it starts. Okay, but I'm wondering if we're going to see a double. No, okay. I was wondering if we would see a double into this Ogerpon here to break Sturdy and then Miraidon will switch out.
Look at that Cudgel going before the Miraidon, so
slow Miraidon.
Not max speed on the Miraidon. Hands going down to a horsepower and a spread move. Ashley now finding herself down a Terra and down 2 Mons to Ben's 4. In a
outsped by this
in a good offensive
Iron Treads is a pretty big deal, and her Terra's burned right now, so this is looking a little bit dicey.
A little bit dicey. Looks like we might be seeing a game 3, but we'll see if she can pull this back.
It's definitely doable from this position. It's certainly going to be a bit of an uphill climb right now.
You're definitely doable from this position.
And we just got demonetized.
Channel doesn't have enough subs to be monetized. Come on, community, get on it. Subscribe to Perth VGC channel so we can monetize our dumbass streams.
We see the Volt Switch coming out. I was wondering if we would see the Volt Switch last turn on that Ogerpon, just to double up, to reposition, remove it. Instead, a little bit of damage to kill the Iron Hands. Now Volt Switching to break
into the Oho. Back into the Oho.
And here's the potential turnaround. This Iron Treads now going to be getting outsped by the Ogerpon. But can the Ogerpon take a hit from the Ho-Oh, and can it crack back? The Grouse type move here is going to be Power Whip.
Treads being switched out, Rock type offense being threatened from both of Ashley's Mons. So that Ho-Oh and now the Chen Power, both potentially a bit worried. But Ho-Oh...
Oh dear.
Ho-Oh gonna now be vulnerable to the Sword of Ruin if it lives long enough to take that Rock Ivy Cudgel.
Oh no, it's going into
but it might not. Power Herb going into the Ho-Oh, and it is not surviving. That is a quad effective move from a +1 Lunala. Be very surprised if that lives. And Ashley opting for the Power Whip, and you see why a lot of players opt not to run the Power Whip, because that 85 accuracy is just really rough to deal with.
You always run Horn Leech. You take a little bit of chip, you go back up, your Sturdy's active, you don't miss. You also don't do enough damage and you lose because you couldn't take the knockout. There is no right option on this Pokemon.
There is, and the right option is to run Taunt and only Ivy Cudgel. Like, it's just a good enough move on its own, honestly. 100-100 Rock type with a crit chance, like, you can't complain about that.
My Reg G team, Taunt, U-turn on my Follow Me on my Trick Room setting. We don't run
a grass move on my Cornerstone unless it's a Sun team, in which case I run Solar Blade. But
there's the right option.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Turn playing out.
We've got the Trick Room up. Follow me. No spread options from the Lanala,
There's
but
an assault vest on that, but this is +1 and it's been chipped. This
and
is going
it's
down.
low.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, the reverse sweep.
Chen Pao. Yep, 2 mons down for Ben. Still got the treads and the Chen Pao in the back. Chen Pao gonna hit the Icicle Crash, and it is now a 1v2 for Ashley. Unfortunately, that Power Whip missing means that the Chen Pao still has a sash available, so gonna be able to take a hit from Lanala. Not running any multi-hit moves.
And most importantly, no access to terrestrialization here.
True,
This
true.
Lanala has been pinched. It can definitely win a 2v1 in a situation like this, but it is pinched, unfortunately, between a Dark type and a Hard Place. The Hard Place being the giant hat on Iron Heads' head.
Sucker Punch taking it out. Trick Room be damned. There is no chance for this Lanala to move, and Ashley doing a good job trying to maneuver herself out of the bad spot that she found herself in, but we will be seeing a game 3 here.
We have another game on our hands. We have another game. That
We do.
Game 1, so commanding by Ashley. The game 2, she loses the lead early. Her positioning is fine though. She managed to get that Trick Room up, but then with a few tactical pivots and sacking the Ho-Oh at a time when it was no longer needed, just to get himself that free switch and reposition, really played very well. A very positional heavy game against a very offensive team that just wants to click buttons and remove you from the field.
And with the Sucker Punch, even if that Power Whip had connected, Chen Pao still just completely covering that Lanala. Just really unfortunate that it couldn't survive that Steel Roller, because if it had, I think it would have been a completely different game. Maridon coming in would have gotten surely one shot by the Terra Fairy flare-off, and from there things would have played out a bit differently, I think. But
I wonder if we'll have any adjustments here. I think Ben adjusted really, really well game 2 into that lead and that core that Ashley brought. She could certainly play it back again. And just play it slightly differently if she wants to. Ben, typically a very technical player. Even when he's up a game and he wins commandingly, he'll quite often analyze what he thinks his opponent's going to do and sort of make those aggressive reads. Not a linear player at all. And we saw in that game, I mean, he's not running a linear team, and in that game too, he played a unorthodox line that, like you said, these are teams that only he understands, and he saw a line into that game.
he's a very difficult player, at least speaking from personal experience. It's very difficult to get into Ben's head and predict what he's going to do. I've not managed to do it very much before.
He's definitely going to be a good final boss for Ashley. Ashley, a bit more of an up-and-comer. She's been around for a little while, but only started coming to locals more recently. Recently came back from Brisbane Regionals as well. She is up-and-coming, but quite experienced. She's already won herself a Limitless Tour. Got that under her belt.
A couple, I think. She's been really, but
getting practice with people from all over the world, the locals, the meta jank combinations that we like to run here in Perth, Western Australia, and also practice against some internationals. So, she's got a nice team building group as well. Up and comer, I think Ashley's going to have a pretty good VGC career ahead of her, but Ben O'Neill standing as her final boss before this top cut today, a former regional champion.
Today, at least. Yes, it's been a few years since that, but that's the kind of title that nobody can take away from you. Game 3 now. Our first turn, we see Hans Lanala lead out of Ashley, a little switch up, and treads Chen Pao out of Ben. Another switch up. We've been shown 3 different leads from Ben. No predicting that, but actually going to try and set this Trick Room by the looks of it. Going for a Terra on the Lanala to not risk getting dropped by this Chen Pao, making it weaker to the Maridon later on, terrestrializing into the water type now. But that is the price you pay for running that Terra water. Predicting the fake out protect.
Yeah.
Correctly.
Very good turn for Ashley here. The chip might not matter all that much, but Ben trying to play aggressively here, perhaps anticipating this trick room, protecting the Chin Pao, hoping to preserve that sash. Was never targeted anyway. Ashley's in that predicament though we talked about with our previous game, where when you set trick room early, you put yourself on a strict timer, but not having access to any spread moves. There's no Keller X, like he's got Glacial Lance here. She has a lot of killing power and the ability to really run over this game, but she's on a very strict timer here. This Chin Pao is threatened to have a sash broken, maybe even knocked out. The Iron Treads doesn't have a direct threat into the Lunala. We saw that the Iron Hands can even take that Terra Ground Stomping Tantrum. Iron Treads, unfortunately for it, not getting access to, oh my goodness, the name just eluded me, Headlong Rush.
Yeah, no, that's a very...
It's fellow Donphan.
Does Donphan get Headlong Rush?
The past version of Donphan got Headlong Rush.
Oh yeah,
Donphan
Tusk
itself
gets
Headlong
yeah,
Rush.
but
in
not
the future,
Treads.
it lost the ability to rush headlong.
It can no,
Imagine that?
can no longer rush headlong.
One of the reasons we've almost never seen Iron Treads usage. It's popped up at the old regional, had a good result here and there actually, but not getting access to that strong ground type move really seems to set it back.
It's a good little gotcha having a ground steel type that can be a fast booster. Like, it's a good little meta check. We saw Dill do very well with it at.
Yes, he won a UIC. He won a UIC. No, so he came
second.
second.
Yeah. Brought it all the way to second, and it was
it was like, what if
very
the
cool to
what if
see.
the Aru Vega 6 had Iron Treads? And everybody would have been like, why should it have Iron Treads? And then he sorry, Day got second.
They're like,
and
this is
was
why
like, this is
yeah.
why
it should have Iron Treads. Yeah.
I got second at EUIC, 1,300 players, but it wasn't enough, and I took game on a full click.
Yeah, honestly, they made it look convincing as well. Like, all of us watching that were like, wow, we've got something on our hands here. But
So the predicted Ho-Oh switch here is kind of a big deal because you can't fire off the wild charge into that slot unless you're anticipating that. But the double up to cover for the switch, reading that Chin Pao to click this protect here, trying to stall out these trick room turns, keep yourself alive. Actually in a good position, but time is running out.
true, there's 2 more turns of Trick Room? Yeah, so there's no Mons down though on Ben's side yet, but
his HP bars are low, but if he can bring this Trick Room out and deal with this Lunala, his predicament is he wants to deal with this Lunala before Trick Room ends or on the turn it wants to reset. Ashley has to play a positional game here. Ben is doing exactly that right now.
yeah, a little bit of a forced strategy with the Trick Room because there's no like amazing, incredible Trick Room sweeper with spread or anything for Ashley's side, but she doing her best here to leverage the advantage, catching a sucker punch, but not doing enough damage to really be worried about that KO, and getting the knockout into the Chen Pao now.
Wouldn't it be funny if Ashley had have just made the hardest read of all time there on the Ho Protect and clicked Meteor Beam? I've done that more than once playing Lunala when there's like 1 or 2 turns of Trick Room left, and you know you've got to face a Protect or a Pivot.
I've seen that.
And you just damn well Meteor Beam into it, and then when your +2 Trick Room runs out and suddenly you are Lunala's the arch enemy, that can sway.
Ballsiest
But
play.
it's so risky. It's so risky.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Now we've got the treads come up.
Probably unable to protect. The big thing here is that it can potentially pivot out. It's got that
It can
regenerator
switch with
ability, so it'll be
regenerator.
coming back with about half HP. This Iron Tread's almost certainly got a thing that's going to protect here. It's last turn a Trick Room. There's no reason for it not to. Ashley needs to get this turn right, and her position needs to be good for this end game because Ben has set up a really good mid game himself.
We've still not seen though what Ashley's got in the back, so even once Trick Room goes down, still potentially in a good spot with her own fast mons in the back. We haven't seen it yet, but using Trick Room to kind of get around this really tricky to deal with positional.
Making the read just in case the treads didn't protect. Perhaps Ben was thinking. Perhaps she was thinking Ben won't protect it or he expects me to not target it. I'll hit it anyway. Bendo not switching the Ho-Oh. Is this another tactical free switch that he went forward for, or is this a hard read?
I think even despite the fact that you can get so much HP back on that Ho-Oh, I think identifying that maintaining the health on his Miraidon is probably a better play from him, which to be honest I kind of agree with. I don't think a half health Ho-Oh is doing as much as a full health Miraidon to have in the back there, so really not wanting to switch into that +1 Moongeist beam.
This is where the strength of these semi-room teams really comes in. You've got it as a mode, but it's not the full thing a team's built around. Actually being able to just go with a Trick Room leading game 3, which she hasn't been doing so far, immediately putting the pressure on, immediately putting Ben on the clock. And Ben being able to navigate around it, but maybe not having the right ones he needed to burn through Trick Room. It's now 4v2 in this position, but he does have access to Terastallization and a lot of damage with his 2 stronger sweepers on the field.
Lunala, though, pressured to use that Terror on the first turn in front of the Chen Power, now weak to that Miraidon, which is out, going for a wide guard, trying to predict some spread move. Not opting. We see the Electro Drift gonna come out, take advantage of that Water Terror. Even if it wasn't, I think that would have KO'd.
Ben may be reading the potential for the wide guard to come out here, instead deciding to aggro down this Lunala to prevent another Trick Room turn, rather than focusing on the Iron Hands like he did last game, knowing that he's got speed advantage here. The Iron Hand isn't taking a knockout, it's going to do some chip, but the Lunala's gone. Ashley's not going to be able to reset Trick Room with it, and Dazzling Gleam is free to be clicked now as well.
Yeah, with no more wide guard mons. I suppose predicting that D-Gleam to come out, and also likely knowing that if Ben went for an Electro Drift into that slot, there's not really much she can do about it. Doesn't have the Follow Me on the field from the Ogre Pond, doesn't have Fake Out active. No Protect on these Lunalas that run wide guard Trick Room and double stabs, so not really much you can do about that. And similar to Ben, opting to just take it on the chin and lose one of their mons in order to just preserve full HP on her other 2 in the back.
This is a very hard turn, I think, for Ashley now. She's got the Pokemon advantage, but Ben's been able to stall out Trick Room. He's lost 2 mons in the process, but he's positioned his 2 sweepers that he needs to. He's got his terrain boosted right now. He can threaten with a nice big Steel Roller later on if he wants to.
Draken
or
AV.
he can just boost his Electro Drifts.
Draken AV hands lives a D-Gleam from that HP. It's not Specs Miraidon.
It's possible. There's no Terror, there's no Specs. It's not Stab. It might. It's AV hands. It's a spread move. It's gonna live it.
It does.
21 HP.
It does live it, but Ashley
But the protect.
doubling into the protect. A good call from Ben, protecting that treads.
That was a very important turn. I think Ashley identifying that she's most likely not going to be able to OHKO this Miraidon, trying to maybe get a little bit greedy. If Ben makes the misplay there, she just wins the game on the spot, I think. It's a hard turn for her to play though, because if she doesn't try to hit the Iron Treads there, and let's say it targets the Ogre Pond down instead. It's a hard game. Ben is playing this end game pretty well.
She's assessing the threat, because based on what she's got in the back, she wants that treads gone.
High horsepower going into the Ogre Pond. Ben not too worried about this Iron Hands. It's not doing enough. It's not fast enough, and Miraidon can just clean it up. Electro Drift covers for a potential switch. Maybe not wanting
taking it out.
Maybe expecting the Iron Hands to switch out, so
she can get fake out.
But later, knowing Electro Drift's going to KO it anyway, it's actually the better option to click there. Ben identifying that very nicely. Not knowing what's in the back, you'd assume it's the second restricted. Electro Drift will take the knockout. See now that
he's got a ground type on the field. If I was Ben, I would have clicked Parabolic Charge and healed up my Miraidon.
Well,
even though it's at full HP and he doesn't have Parabolic Charge. But we see now finally.
That's a completely fair call out. If I was the opponent, I would hate that.
We see now though that final mon for Ashley out. It's the Zacian. No Terror, but Follow Me active for her. So Earthquake gonna come out though from this treads, opting to really severely damage, almost KO his own Miraidon, but everything living on Ashley's side as well.
Ashley gets the outspeeds though.
Yeah. Zacian.
Is that Celt?
Zacian a lot faster than.
Do you think Ben?
Who calcs the treads?
No. I mean, on Ben's side, do you think Ben
That's a
looked
good
at this
point.
Miraidon and he went, "I've got a Terra
Calc
Ground
for-
Earthquake Pokemon. I can't protect my Miraidon. Should I
That's-
calc to be able to survive my own attack?
That is
or does it just live it
genuinely
naturally?
that is genuinely a really good point because like I'm running Ursaluna with Earthquake on a team with Miraidon, and I have had that thought, but I'm like, no, there's no world in which I can live aside Earthquake from an Ursaluna, but from this Treads, looks like you can.
Alright, so we see the Earthquake coming out from the Iron Treads again. Ogerpon, its shield is spiky. Zacian protects itself using its sword as a shield, probably. The electric terrain has worn out.
It
And
has
you know what? We know that this Iron Treads is holding booster energy.
but
But
it was lead, so it
it's
doesn't
lead,
have it
it's
anymore.
switched out. Behemoth Blade to cover the protect. The outspeed is coming on. What a game.
Well played. Very good game.
What a set.
Well done, both of
Holy,
you. That was
holy.
that was an edge of that was a really good stream match.
I'm sitting here watching this like,
Wow, I
oh my goodness.
did not think that Ashley was going to be able to position her way out of that. Ben making some very calculated plays.
Now I'm not sure what team I want to run for Melbourne. Do I want to run Ashley's or Chris's? Oh my goodness.
You're playing VG in Melbourne?
I am.
Yeah.
Hopefully these two play in Top Cut, and whoever wins out of those two, that's the team I'm running in Melbourne. It's one of these two teams. My goodness.
Well, Ben is 2-2 now, so probably not going to cut because this was a
yeah. No, Ashley or Chris.
Oh,
Sorry,
I see. Right.
I want to run with one of their teams.
You
anyway,
like the look of Chris's team?
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah. Do you mind if I conduct this interview?
No, go for
I'm
it.
pretty
It's your turn.
hyped. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
hyped about it. I want to carry
Yeah.
the hype until it dies down.
I'm going to have a snack.
Sure thing.
You want to hop on the mic and have a little bit of interview?
All right, we are joined once again by Ashley Coe. Is that how I say it?
Yes.
Coe. No, it's
No,
Coe.
no.
Okay. But this time, not just popping in to say howdy between rounds. This time it's a winner's interview, winning the stream game. That had me on the edge of my seat. That was a hyped game.
Yeah, had me on the edge of mine too. My hand's still shaking.
I can see. There's no webcam, but I can confirm. Definitely shaking. Ashley defeating the final boss. How does that feel? Holy.
Really, really good. Me and Ben played at the Morley Cup last weekend. I think it was last weekend. And absolutely crushed me. It was not close at all. It was quite the hiding, and I was quite humiliated. But I'm glad to have my vengeance arc, redemption arc today, and hopefully there will be a third game in the future.
Hopefully, that may well happen. Perhaps
Yeah.
in Melbourne.
Perhaps if I make my flight.
I hope you do.
Me too.
That had me on the edge of my seat. That game one, you took it quite commandingly. You weren't too concerned about the Metagross. Your Zacian very well positioned. Game two, Ben made a lot of really good adjustments. He's very good at doing that. He gets inside your head. He makes these reads. He was very commanding. That turn one where you terrestrialized the Zacian.
Yeah.
And Ben's obviously got the Protect Scout option. I guess you're hoping for a Miraidon lead with your Iron Hands.
Yeah.
And then the Steel Roller, we weren't sure. It's a 140 base power move.
Yeah.
It's stab, but Zacian's fat and Treads doesn't eat very hard. We weren't sure if it was going to KO. Did you know your Zacian was gone on that turn?
On which turn, sorry?
When you ate the Steel Roller on turn two, did you know it was going to KO, or were you thinking you might live?
I haven't calced for it, but I
Understandably.
I do not believe that even if I hadn't terrored, I'm pretty sure that Steel Roller would have taken me there.
Damn. Okay. So game one, very much in your favor.
Yes.
Game two, very much in Ben's favor.
Yeah.
Game three, you've brought out the Trick Room mode, which you hadn't done so far in that game. Setting Trick Room on turn one, you get the fake out redirect, which is nice. The Chin Pow's protected, you preserved your Shadow Shield.
Yeah.
Things are looking really, really good for you, but you're on a timer.
Yeah.
Ben's positioned so well, his Protect cycling is really, really good.
Yeah.
When Trick Room ends, it's 4v2,
Yeah.
but his position is good and he starts taking KOs.
Yes.
Is there a point where you thought, I'm going to lose this game?
Yeah, in the turn where I was forced into clicking follow me on my cornerstone, I was very convinced that the Terragrant Earthquake, I was pretty confident that was going to take
The person who bubbled is
take the cornerstone, and fortunately it lived, which ended up not particularly mattering that turn anyway.
Third place, Brendan. Second, Ash. And first, we have Chris Mark.
So yeah,
Chris
that was.
Matt,
Sorry,
Ashley
now.
versus Brendan. We'll start
That's okay.
once I get
That's just Warren in the background announcing the top
You
cut.
can just take my switch if you want.
Alright.
Yeah, that one there. Yeah.
So yeah, it's game 3. Trick Room's over. You're 4v2, but Ben's got a good position. He's clicked Earthquake. Ogerpon's lived.
Yep. At that point, I actually didn't even notice that the Miraidon was taking damage because I was so stressed with my own damage count that that I hadn't really thought about that yet. And I'm also very confident in the fact that Play Rough will knock out Miraidon, whether it's Terran or not.
It's not just that it will knock out. Play Rough will hit.
Yeah,
it will connect.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's true. So Play Rough hitting was very important in that turn, and then what to hit, knowing that I had only one turn left of electric terrain and could protect and spiky shield, stall that out, and then I actually can't really remember how fast Iron Treads is, but
I don't think many people do. I'm thinking like the 80s to 90s.
Yeah, most things are slower than Zacian unless it's particularly fast or it's got some sort of booster energy or quark drive or protosynthesis or choice scarf. Like generally that's the threshold. So had my Zacian have been slower than Iron Treads, I would have been A, surprised, and B, concerned and very upset.
Had your Zacian been outsped by an Iron Treads, I think all of us would have been surprised and concerned. I don't know its speed stat. Maybe it's even like 100, 109. My brain said 109. It's probably 109. Definitely not Zacian outspeeding.
Yeah.
When it hit that Miraidon with the Earthquake and it didn't take the knockout, we were wondering, is that Miraidon did Ben actually calc for this with his own Earthquake? Or is it just a natural accidental live? But either way, putting that chip damage down opened you up to more options. You didn't suddenly have to click Play Rough and rely on the 90% roll.
No.
That was a fantastic game. You played really well. Congratulations on defeating the final boss. Congratulations on making Top Cut, where you will be playing Brendan Robeson, I believe.
Can I just say, like, you're in top 4.
Yep.
Can you please beat Robeson for me? Because he's my worst possible matchup, and I don't know my lines into him. And if he was a bad player, I could like fluke a win like I did last time against him. But he's playing really well today, so I need you to beat him in top 4, please.
Okay.
I will try.
I was saying, I can't decide if I want to run your team or Ashley's team for Melbourne. I need you both to win your Top Cut matches and play in finals, and then whoever wins in the final, that's the team I'll play in Melbourne.
You should have seen our best of 3 in round 2 or 3. On round 3,
three.
that was a
very
really
close.
good. That should have been on stream.
Oh, hopefully I get to see a rematch of that because I've loved your team. I've always loved watching you play. Ashley, as I was saying, you're more of an up-and-comer, I think. One of your Limitless tours, really starting to get deeply involved in team building, flow charting. You've got a pretty good team. You're playing pretty damned well at the moment.
Thank you.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe one of you will beat the other, and then I'll run that team. But it will just turn out that the person who ended up winning or lost made a misplay, and I choose the wrong team. No pressure on either of you.
Like I've said, I'm perfectly happy to lend you mine, and I've actually, fun fact, back in 2022, I think it was, I was on Showdown, and there was someone in one of the rooms that I was in who needed a Zacian for their VGC, and I have Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I have both of them, and at the time I was unbeknownst to the whole cannot put items through home, so I reset my Pokemon Sword 3 times to get this person a Zacian. So I have a gajillion Zacians in my Pokemon Shield box from my old Pokemon Sword game. So look, if you need a Zacian that's legit, hit me up because I've got a plethora.
I might do. I did have Pokemon Sword. I've misplaced my Pokemon Sword. I borrowed one off somebody. I don't know if I returned it to him. I don't know. When I moved house, I just lost my Pokemon Sword. It lived in my Switch.
Yeah.
And then when Scarlet Violet came out, it never went in my Switch again.
Yeah.
So when I needed Pokemon Sword for something, I couldn't find it. Tore my whole house up, and I was like, no. Yeah. So I might have to hit you up on that potential Zacian offer. Yes. I appreciate that.
No worries.
You will be the Zacian Queen of Western Australia.
Thank you. interesting because Kyogre and Zacian are buddies, and I've like ditched Kyogre
Yeah.
and
We've talked a lot about that while you were playing Ben. We talked about how your polyamorous relationship
I heard
with
that.
Kyogre and Tornadus is now monogamy. Kyogre was kicked out.
See you in Melbourne.
Yeah, see you in Melbourne if I.
See you in Melbourne, Robert.
See you
Yeah.
in Melbourne. Unless TCG Tuesday. I want
Nah, I'm not
to
going.
get called in.
No, I'm not going.
Yeah, that was quite the stressful game, and I've actually found with this team that I've built, it was. This is actually only its second proper swap, like from the Chiyu to the Iron Hands was the biggest major swap from it. Other than that, it was like fine.
Iron Hands definitely seems to
It definitely-
carry its weight in that match against Ben just now. Yeah.
I think actually I've brought Iron Hands to every single game today, and my Urshifu Rapid to not one. So that's something
Okay.
to go away and think about.
So
But
Iron Hands definitely stays. The fish will not be mished.
no, it will not actually. That I do not regret putting that Iron Hands on at all. It was quite the decision. I think I've brought Iron Hands to all games. I played Miraidon round 1, Miraidon round 2, and Koala round 3, but
I don't have team sheets. Oh, wait, is it? I've got to give these. Oh, shit. Thought I gave them all back.
Matt, is Warren done with my Switch? Yep, so honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I've built this team to be more of a neutral at worst into all restricted combinations. And then with a good other supporters able to support it. But thank you. So I find that with this team, it can do well into anything as long as I play correctly. I feel like it's one of the teams that's completely reliant on me playing correctly.
Okay.
And I mean, you saw it here how I had a pretty good game 1, pretty not that great, probably bad even game 2. Game 3 it was very, very close, and we both worked for that.
You both went into overdrive.
Yeah, we both really worked for that one.
Before I leave you briefly, because I'll let you have a quick break before Topcast starts. I'll take a bathroom break myself. I'll get some people to come and talk on the mic.
Yes, no worries.
Would you like to be on stream for Topcard, or do you want to sort of sit further away from the stream and just lock in for this match?
I do not mind. This is a funny one because Brendan and myself have had a few games on both Showdown Ladder and last week at the Cup in Morley, and on the Showdown Ladder he got a triple protect onto his Ice Rider that stopped me from winning, and a double protect onto his Ice Rider at the Cup. So I'm a little bit salty, I'm a little bit annoyed because I really hate his team, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully now's my redemption arc, because I would really like to go to finals.
Alright, well, I'll go chat with the other players before I make my bathroom break and see. I forgot who Chris is facing.
Matt.
Slocum made it?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody who'll be in Top Cut has already been on stream.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I assume they all don't mind.
No, I don't think they mind.
I'll have to make a decision or something like that. But I'll take a quick
you'll
break.
have to
I'll get some
see
other
who
players
you'd
in
like
to
on
have an
stream.
intermission bathroom
Yes.
break for me. Just a wind down break for you, or maybe a lock-in break, however
I
your
don't know. I
process
think I'm going to
goes.
put my Switch on charge so it can live a bit longer.
Completely valid.
Feels good. Well, Brendan.
On screen, we have Matt versus Chris again? No. Yeah. Matt versus Chris on stream.
Hear that, stream? We are just about to get into Top Cut, and our
It's a restream.
our stream
No, but I'm saying the same.
our stream choices are
Chris again.
Chris versus Matt
Do you
Slocum,
have someone come into the casting table?
or Warren. What's the other match?
Ash versus.
Ashley versus Robeson. So we haven't seen that one yet. So
Did we want to put them on because Chris and Matt have already been on?
I think so. Yeah. Good luck, have fun, bro. Thanks, bro. Yeah. See you later, Doc. I'll see you tomorrow, or? All right. Say hi to your mum for me.
Say hi.
See ya.
To me as well. I don't know his mom though.
All right, chat. We're getting Ashley versus Robeson.
Repair for the stream.
Everybody in cut is somebody who we've already had on stream, but Ash versus Robeson is a matchup that we haven't specifically seen before.
Yes,
whereas we did have Slocum versus Chris, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So, two teams we've seen before. Robeson with his oppressive I run hard trick room, but I don't click it team.
Plus Chris-
Ashley's I can click trick room, but I may or may not click it team.
Plus, Chris beat Matt so hard in Swiss that it's probably not going to be as good a screen match for Swiss.
I'm just going to quickly disappear and grab some team sheets so we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Hey buddy, you wanna say hi to the stream while?
No, not really. It's okay. You guys.
Fair enough, dude. Is your energy flagging a little bit?
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Yeah, I am. Really well. I'm giving prize money to the top four.
Alright, I have returned with the
Welcome
team
back.
sheets just so we know what we are Thank you. Just so we know what we are talking about. We've seen these things before, but it's very easy to forget the moves and items and terrors and such. But so Ashley, who was just on stream
Speak
with
for
her
yourself.
Lunalization, Brendan, who was on stream the round before with his Calyrex Ice Rider Lunalis. So we're going to have two Lunalis here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lunala be a top usage mon at this tournament.
I think
which I'm very excited about.
I think it's going to be. It was at the last one.
Yes.
And it's been.
The moon.
Yeah.
It's real. The moon bat is real. It exists,
Yeah.
and it is existing on stream in a mirror, not mirror. The only commonality between these two teams will be Lunala. Let's go.
It's currently the most used. It's currently the most used mon period for us in Reg I for Perth specifically, Lunala.
Excellent.
So
It's going to be
yeah.
the exact same sets as well. The only difference. Oh,
Ooh, no,
sorry.
there's an expanding force on Robeson's side
yeah,
instead
sorry.
of.
I was reading one twice for some reason.
Yeah.
So not same sets, different terrors,
Safe-
different items.
Safety Joggle's not going to be doing.
Three moves in common.
Safety Joggle's not going to be doing anything against Ashley's team.
I mean, it'll be making Lunala look cool. It's for the
It will.
aesthetic. It's for the
Yeah.
aesthetic. Yeah.
The moon bat with glasses.
If you're listening, TPCI, or whoever it is that creates.
Our one concurrent viewer is
Yes.
just Jimmy from.
Yes. Hello, one concurrent viewer. Jimmy from the Pokemon Company, Jimmy from Game Freak. If you're listening, next generation, make the items appear on the Pokemon. I want to wear my funny hat on
That'd be
my
cool.
Amogus.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I want to wear glasses on my Incineroar. Make it look even more intimidating, ironically, than it already is.
They just bodge in a last minute release day patch to Champions to just make like a freaking pixelated JPEG of the item
Yes,
pop up
yes,
on the
yes.
3D model in the.
Also, fun to note, we didn't notice in the last one, this Smeagol on Brendan's side has the title Smeagol the Sleepy. Funny because it's a spawn move clicker guy. Yeah,
That's smart.
Don't know if it's intentional or not. Maybe it could be.
It probably is. We know Robeson.
Smeagol the Fabulous. Because you click follow me and you're like, oh. Fabulous was all I had because we use Fabulous to describe Chris and his fabulous flair.
Actually, though, with the perhaps a predictive lead, bringing the Surging Strikes Urshifu here, so if not faked out, ability to completely drop that Smeagol past its sash.
Oh, here's something we don't see often.
Terra Grass on the Smeagol, never mind, forget potentially what I just said. Curious to see if this still KOs. It is a Smeagol. Protect out of the Shadow Rider.
Smeagol, yeah, it doesn't do much. And
Robeson perhaps hoping to get a Spore down, knowing that he outspeeds Lunala's, and it is gonna live that Surging Strikes. Surely some bulk on that, because as we all know, Smeagol's stat line is the most frail thing in the universe.
Its stats will just be like speed, HP. It's all you invest in realistically. Maybe defense if you really want to actually live this Surging Strikes.
And we see the advantage of some of that speed on the Smeagol, being able to outspeed these like mid or no speed Lunalas and get Spore down to kind of
we already
stop
knew it.
Wide Guard and help that Trick Room setup for Robeson.
We already knew it, but this would be
actually finding out probably.
She did say that she played Robeson on Showdown and lost to him getting a triple protect, and then she played him at a challenge and lost to a double protect.
Right.
So perhaps she has some insight into this Smeagol speed. Perhaps something has changed since they played, but
at the very least, that's why she's got Urshifu.
But the terrestrialization coming out, though, does mean that this Calyrex will be threatened a little bit later on by this Power Herb and this Moongeist speed, if it can wake up.
There he goes, and Lunala coming out now is gonna catch a big surge from Urshifu. Yeah, there you go. Only the first hit reduced by Shadow Shield, not Terrapagos.
Fortunately,
not gonna get.
Terra Shell is silly.
What? Yeah, Terra Shell is very strong. Trick Room going up.
So very interesting here. Robeson sacrificing his Shadow Shield, but doing it for the benefit of preserving the Smeagol, probably wanting to cycle some fake outs, maybe say, hey guys, look at me, or go night-night a little bit later on in this game.
True, he's got that sash intact now for later on, which...
There is a disadvantage somewhat to the faster Smeagol though. The Lunala has now taken 2 sleep turns on 2 turns of the game.
That's true, so threatening a wake-up chance now. It's 1 in 3 chance to wake up each turn, right? So
I don't think so. I think it's 50-50 for turn 2 and 3 because turn 1's guaranteed. I think it's 50-50 and then obviously 100 once you've had your 3 turns.
Right. Okay, no, that makes sense. You're right. Okay. Interesting. All right, so we see the Terra Water now coming out of Ashley's Lunala. Going to be 2 water types catching a Glacial Lance, and it's not going to do much for Lunala, but critting the Urshifu. I was going to say that quite big damage, and that Terra allowing it to survive this Moongeist beam, which it almost certainly...
Oh, 3 turns
3 turns sleep. That's very rough.
Brendan's Lunala is slower, thus under Trick Room faster than Ashley's. So it's going
It is going to go down now, though.
It's going to go down, but... Whoa, here he comes.
Watch out, boys. He'll spore you up.
Whoa, here he comes. He's a Mon Sleeper.
That's good.
Well, possibly. There is also another Mon in the back.
True. And there it
maybe
is.
She's maybe with a...
Maybe.
Alright, so that 3 turn sleep really hurting Ashley. Also, the positioning here meant that she was very much forced to have to use this terrestrialization. You probably want to use it on the Lunala anyway, but being forced into it because of the threat of the Moongeist beam coming in. Once that Shadow Shield is broken, it had to be done. Robeson was also perhaps forced as well on the first turn to use his own. So no terrestrialization available for either play. This Calyrex could be threatened by this Lunala if it can wake up and survive another turn.
Yes, with Meteor Beam and Power Herb still available, but actually going for the wide guard, trying to prevent perhaps a double up killing her Urshifu, because Urshi at risk of taking super effective damage from that alluring voice, but Robeson instead just gonna go for a Follow Me and a high horsepower. Surging Strike's gonna do, looks like a little over half to this Indeedee, but no Rocky Helmet, so Urshifu gonna stick around. Not able to Aqua Jet with the Psychic Terrain, but
interestingly,
still
Robeson
alive.
not going for that alluring voice there. I guess it's a fairy type
Wanting
move, right?
to-
I guess being a
it
fairy
is.
type move, maybe it wouldn't have been enough to get through the Urshifu. A Psychic type move would have done the job, stab terrain. Instead, opting to play a little bit more safely there. Also,
wanting to protect his Calyrex, yeah.
Yeah.
Because as we can see, like, it's the only, like, now that the Lunala's dead, it's the only damaging mon he's got. He's got that Indeedee and Smeargle, so, like, that is his only way he's killing anything. So he does have to be really careful with it. And no boosts on it yet, so not to...
Yeah, it's not
racking up that sweeping potential. Alluring Voice, there it is, we see it taking out that Urshifu, but Meteor Beam going to come out here, presumably into the Calyrex.
This was a rough turn for Ashley here, because what does she decide to do? Does she try to lay down...
There you go.
Does she try to
It
lay down
lives
the
it.
damage?
Wow.
Or does she try to reset Trick Room? That's the dilemma that she has, and is resetting Trick Room too passive?
It's
The
rough
Smeargle
either
is
way,
still
because,
out.
yeah, if she resets Trick Room, then there's the Smeargle in the back, which she knows is faster than her Lunala, and definitely than her hands, so she's going to opt to keep it up and get that big-ass Meteor Beam off into the Calyrex, which does all but just a couple of its HP.
Yeah.
Now
It's insane to consider how bulky Calyrex, like, how bulky it has to be, because it's an ice type, because it's weak to everything in the bloody world and resists nothing but itself.
Yeah.
It needs that bulk to be a playable ice type, but then it takes a +1 Meteor Beam.
Even Glastria with its crazy stat line wasn't enough to be like used, just because slow ice types have to be so good to justify it. Might have, we did see some Glastria back in Sword and Shield when it could Dynamax and use weakness policy and boosting stuff, but now it's 100 HP, 150 defense, 130 special defense, or bust.
Brendan in a strange position there, because knowing that he can't take out the Iron Hands, he could go, if he goes for a high horsepower, the Iron Hands is going to live.
Yeah.
The Lunala's then going to crack back at the Calyrex, needing to protect this 1 HP Calyrex. The Lunala's going down, but he's not too concerned, because now we've got this Smeargle coming out. It's not going to outspeed the Zacian though.
No, it's not, and it can't fake it out either because of his own terrain. So all his options really are, as far as I can see, are Follow Me and Attack, which I don't think does enough to either mon to net him anything.
Even at +1, I don't know if this high horsepower takes out the Zacian. It's not stab, it's only 90 base power. Zacian's natural bulk is way higher than it has any right to be with an offensive stat line that it has.
I can see a line for him, actually. I can see a line for him. That was not the line.
No.
The line was if he clicks Trick Room with the Calyrex and then spores the hands, and Ashley attacks the Smeargle with the Zacian. That's the line, because then the hands goes to sleep, the Cali doesn't get killed, and he gets to set up Trick Room. But now, ooh, that's big damage.
There's a bit
living it though.
That's a lot. That's a lot. But now Ashley getting her confirmation, we were pretty confident here on the desk. I think it did more damage than I would have thought. Maybe an indication of the way it's being trained. Maybe
what,
just
the horsepower, or
or maybe just I was wrong on the difficulty boost.
Yo, Ash, is that
Zacian
calculative horsepower?
No.
Maybe it wasn't her that made the spread. There you have it, folks.
Zacian doing its funny little transformation, dropping the sword, becoming empowered and meek.
Interesting, isn't it?
I'm glad that still stays in the game. That's the only thing I don't hate about Zacian. But actually taking game one, Robeson not doing something that he hasn't done a lot today. He did on stream earlier though, setting that trick room. Yeah, also setting that trick room in that turn one immediately of game one, just going straight for it.
Yeah,
actually, and nullifying the Lunala. But even with 3 turns of sleep, Robeson not able to KO the Lunala. Not because he couldn't, but because everything next to it was so threatening that he had to priority target things around it. And even with the 3 sleep turns, there's a lot of bulk on Ashley's team.
Yeah, a lot. He just wasn't able to get those. He didn't manage to get any attack boost on the Calyrex, so couldn't get it rolling. And
he did get one when he took out the Urshifu with Lance.
That was Alluring Voice that took out the Urshifu.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he horsepowered the.
Was the Lunala?
He read wide guard and horsepowered the Lunala, which didn't even die from it.
Yeah.
So he didn't get any boost at all that.
Crazy that even after the Urshifu got crit by Glacial Lance, it still took a high horsepower and sat around for a little while. One of those very rare crit didn't matter moments. But if you lost the game, you could certainly go back to that turn one and remind your opponent that they suck.
Yep, that's the way. That's always the way.
Yeah. But it's good to see a pretty clean game. There was one bit of RNG. It ultimately didn't impact the game. And the 3 turn sleep as well. Holy golly. It compared to what Ashley was telling me about her last few matches against Brendan. Either she's figured out the matchup or she has reached Ultra Instinct at this point, because Robeson is no slouch, and he is playing incredibly well today. He beat Chris, who's 3-0 at the moment, in the last round of Swiss.
Yeah, right, to secure his spot in cut.
Well, who's 3-1 at the moment, was 3-0 at the time,
Yeah. And
he had a final boss win and in himself, but both Ashley and Brendan had final boss win and ins, and now they find each other being the sub-boss of the top cut.
And hello to anybody who's just joining us. We've got game 2 of the first round of Top Cut here. It's Robeson against Ashley. Ashley took game 1. Robeson switching up his leads now with Lunala Smeargle instead of the Calyrex. And Ashley as well got still with that Urshifu, but hands now too to kind of say, hey, if you set Trick Room, I'm gonna hit you.
I think this is an indicator of Ashley's improvement.
Expanding force. Alert. Ruh-roh. That's an Indeedee switch. Psychic Terrain now.
Oh no.
Blocking the fake out. And
maybe she's gone with her. Maybe it's Psychic Terrain.
2 fighting types in front of a Lunala that is now terrain boosted and does have the expanding force.
There's no sash on the Urshifu either.
No, there's not.
It's got Mystic Water.
Yeah. And here it is.
Oh no.
Yikes. Hands living that, but that's going to KO the Urshifu. And that's a very good...
Catch these wings. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Holy.
Very, very good catch from Robeson, being able to get 1 and 2/3 very big KOs early on.
That is probably the best possible turn 1 you can have, because sometimes taking 2 KOs isn't what you want, because the 2 backline mons will come in together and begin that reverse sweep.
Yeah.
He's taken the 1 KO that he needed to take, and the other Pokemon is sitting there now, not able to outspeed anything, ready to be taken out. Has,
hands low and slow. So
it's one of the interesting things about VGC. So a lot of the time, taking a double knockout can be very detrimental, because your opponent will have this lead. There's a certain synergy that they've got going on, and once these 2 Pokemon drop, the 2 Pokemon in the back will begin the revenge sweep, and we see it happen.
They can get their combo in fresh with no damage.
So one knockout, 1 low mon, Robeson in a very commanding position. In VGC, it's not really over until Indeedee sings, and she does have a voice that is very alluring, allegedly. So let's see. No, but she's not singing yet. It is not over.
First allegedly of the stream. Let's go. We got the big BB Blade. It's going to almost take out the Indeedee. And a Moongeist now coming out. Not another expanding force to pick up the hands, but a Moongeist into the hands.
Just to cover.
Just to cover a potential switch. I see. Ashley does have that Lunala herself, which could be in the back. There it is. Could have come in that turn.
In JS Cup that it'll be a double, right? And it's the same situation we saw earlier when Ben clicked Electro Drift into the Iron Hands, you know the move can KO anyway, but it allows you to cover for a switch as well. And that's that position where Robeson not taking the double KO is giving him a big advantage here. He gets to cover for that switch or take the knockout either way, and his position is incredibly good right now. Actually, 2 mons down in 2 turns.
Honestly, in GS Cup, if you're ever finding you're not bringing one of your restricteds relatively often, you got to think that maybe that use of your restricted slot is not really being used to its optimum. If it's not a flexible enough of a powerhouse restricted legendary to come to almost all matchups. Or you've got a very specific team build style that doesn't necessarily require both your restricteds to come to every matchup. But regardless, we see both Lunalas terroring one after the other, and we're seeing for the first time Robeson's Terra Fairy Lunala come out.
It's so pretty. It looks so good.
I'm a big fan of Terra Fairy.
The heart fits perfectly inside the crest on its head. It's
does.
fantastic. And it's got like a second set of wings. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Robeson's sitting outside of Trick Room at the moment, so unless he sets it right now, he's going to be in danger of taking a big old Behemoth blade. Behemoth. Yeah. Actually, not predicting the Trick Room and trying to reverse, but rather just going for a big hit, and it's not quite enough. Robeson's going to be able to get up his Trick Room.
Those 2 KOs there
without an
be
issue.
Really big to enact that revenge sweep from such
and with the Okie Dokie.
Oh, we see it on
We
stream.
get to see
It's
it.
the Doge.
We haven't seen this so far, but very exciting to see this Okie Dokie that Robeson's been starting to bring to quite a few of these tournaments, and I haven't asked him about what the strats are, but this is the first time we're seeing it on stream, and excited to see what it can do. Robeson, of course.
Orb instead of the usual assault vest. It's not the typical Terra Dark we're used to seeing. It does have the knockoff, but it's got that Terra Grass. We don't like mushrooms up in this house, and it can protect itself too.
Yeah, Robeson with 4 Terra Grasses in case he ever side spores himself. He's protected. But the low kick coming out from the Okie Dokie into the Lunala, breaking that Shadow Shield and allowing Expanding Force to deal a lot of damage, but not to the Zacian, which can now Behemoth Blade.
Doesn't do enough to take the knockout.
So Robeson now left with the Dogie and the Smeargle, which, as we know, is faster than this Lunala. So, but unsetting the Trick Room this turn. So we've now got a situation where there's mons at different speed tiers on both sides of the field. Psychic Terrain not going down yet, so no fake out.
It has to be.
But Smeargle with Robeson preserving the sash, so can follow me and take a double if he so desires.
And Ashley's problem is if she doesn't target.
Yes.
Yes. Very immersed right now. Unfortunately, not immersed by the technical difficulty.
Getting a little bit of disconnectivity issues.
Okay,
but
we're back
Sacred
just in time to get to see the move coming out from Zacian. It is the Sacred Sword, just for coverage.
And Smeargle is going for that Spore into the Lunala, which
oh dear me.
Not going to get to
faster than the Okie Dokie. So the Okie Dokie would
low
be
kicking to take it out. So now it's down to a 2v1.
Interestingly, sporing it, but then also deciding to kill it anyway. Just make sure the Smeargle lives an extra turn. Now he gets to click follow me, potentially redirect away from the station.
Yeah,
Maybe you could even just make the read and say, go on, target my Okie Dokie, instead go to sleep.
Dogie is especially a little bit more vulnerable to attacks, so perhaps just like the Spore used just that turn to stop Okie Dokie from being dropped really low by the
It is kind of forced into low kick here. I don't know what Zacian's weight is. I want to say it's pretty heavy. Okie Dokie with the life orb, it's got a good attack stat.
Probably pretty heavy, but
you'd think it would be a 2-co here.
It can't gunk shot. Knockoff's pretty useless.
It might just come down to is this going to be a 2-co?
Robeson, of course.
If for some reason it's not, Ashley can actually take this one.
Robeson able to play with Protect as well with the Okie Dokie if he wants to try and do sneaky things with the Smeargle. There it is, there's a follow me. Not going to be a Protect from the Dogie just yet. Zacian going to Sacred Sword, so
Just do the
looking
just do the
looking like
safety
it's
move.
just trying to safely take out that Smeagol, because of course if she gets spored, it's likely game over. Low kick.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a lot. So it's going to come down to, can the Zacian take out this Okie Dokie in one hit?
Are we playing crit? Are we playing
Yeah,
crits here?
the players have shaken hands, so we've seen already if it can.
Okay,
it
I guess.
does.
Yep.
So that's a 2-0 for Ashley.
Wait, had Zacian been on the field the whole game? Was it still a +1?
No, that was
it came in-
the
it came
only
in the
time
back,
that it came
right?
out,
Yeah.
so it was still
Oh, yeah,
+1. And we see Dogi not able to tank hits as well as normal without that bulk. But
All right, I'm going. You know what?
no worries.
I interviewed Ashley last
Yeah,
time.
I got it.
I think she's going to be pretty ecstatic over making what I think might be her first final. We can ask her very shortly. Would you like to conduct the interview this time around?
Yeah, sure. What's up, man?
I think like how they do it, they should maybe interview both Ash and Chris at the same time. Have them both on.
We should what? Sorry.
Ash and Chris.
Have both of them on the table.
Well, he's still playing, so he's still playing. So
If you
they're
do
done.
that, the things like
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
All right, our judge has just
Yeah.
made an interesting
All right,
suggestion
sure.
to potentially have both of our finalists, as both top cup matches are over. So we'll bring Ashley over. Jared will conduct the interview. I've already interviewed both Ashley and Chris. So Jared will be conducting this one. I'll bring Chris over. Ashley's ready to go.
Hey Greg, how you doing? Welcome to the stream, man. We've just had our semi-finals finish up. We've got Ashley versus Chris for the finals, which will be after a quick little interview with both of them. You wanna hop on? Yeah. How you feeling?
Really good.
Yeah. Well done. Clean 2-0, eh? That's.
Chris and Slocum are just playing a game 3. It was a 2-0. They're doing a game 3. Just
Oh,
started.
okay.
So if you want to interview Ashley,
Wait, it was a 2-0, but they're playing a game 3
yeah.
for funsies.
Yeah.
All right.
So Chris will come over once the game 3 is over. So chat with Ashley for a bit, and Chris will come over.
Dr. Robert Jen cooked you.
Okay, I'm not really sure about the decision making there, but tell me about it.
I'm very, very happy. This is my first finals at a local. I haven't
Nice.
really, possibly second top card, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Pretty sure I've seen you cut before, like at least once.
I don't know. Haven't been the strongest. Haven't had the strongest results at locals really for the whole time I've done them.
You've done better at regionals overall than you have at
I
locals,
feel like
eh? That's
it's funny because for the Reg H, I went to a locals the weekend before. Exact same team, went like X1 or something.
Yeah.
And then pulled 4-3 at regionals, only losing my winning end to
Yeah.
my auto loss that I forgot to cover
yeah.
in team building.
To not to Chris, you beat Chris, didn't
I
you?
did beat
You
Chris,
beat
yes.
Chris. Yeah, okay. So I was gonna say Chris beat me at that regionals for my winning end.
Yeah, and then
so.
he played me the next round.
Yeah.
It was like a Perth regionals run with Perth people from Chris.
Yeah. So bit of an easier matchup, you think, than Ben the round before, or like?
I think the main difference is because I only added Iron Hands to my team literally this morning.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was previously Chiyu,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that Iron Hands greatly helped me into that Trick Room matchup, and overall, I think that Iron Hands has been a really good swap.
It covers well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Gives you
I
fake out and a
genuinely-
really bulky mon.
I wasn't 100% sure about my team before, but I think I'm a bit more confident now. Let's see if Chris can derail my confidence.
He's taken a loss so
Yeah.
far
Chris
to
was my only-
Robeson.
Chris
so.
was my loss in Swiss.
Right, okay. So it's a little
It was a tight game.
it's a little rock paper scissors you've got going on.
Yes.
Robeson being Chris's only loss, Chris being your only loss, and then you defeating Robeson just now.
Yeah.
So
I think it's because it was very close with me and Chris. We did go to game 3 and it was a very close game. It was a very good game. But
what changes are you gonna make going, if any? What's your play now after 3 matches against him already?
I think to not bring Urshifu was always the play, because actually I've only brought Urshifu to one game today, and that
And it was that one
and
just
it
then?
was that one just
Yeah.
then. That's why Urshifu's on the team. But maybe I consider another multi-hitter. I don't know. I like Urshifu.
I think
but
it works.
But
yeah.
like, it hasn't really contributed much today, to be honest. But
Have you got Sash anywhere else?
I don't think I've got a Sash on my team at all.
Okay, so you could try a Sash Urshi if you want. Although it was tanking quite a few hits in game 2. Like it took the crit lance and then a high horsepower and an alluring voice to finish it off.
Yeah.
So
it was a rough one.
is there bulk on that or?
Yes, there is. There is bulk on that one.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
can show you the spread in secrecy later if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm curious because I'm still building
I think it's on
myself.
my phone actually.
Yeah, but
Haha, chat. You don't get to see my spread, but Jared does. How's it feel?
feels good. I'm still tossing up between hands and bundle on my team. Both of them kind of work
Yeah.
for my squad, but
Let's see. Yeah.
today's my
That's the
today's my break
that's
from
the
playing
bulk on
and
it.
oh yeah righto. Okay, so like still righto. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah.
That spread is stolen from some random top 32 at some random American regionals last season.
Yeah.
Thank you to them.
that's-
Thank you to them.
That's the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not secret technically, but if you're not revealing who you stole it from, then essentially secret.
Secret in quotation marks because
Yeah.
there are like 10 people that know it. Most of 8 out of 10 of which are going to Melbourne. So, but you know what? It's fine. I'm pretty confident in the people that do know my spread that aren't going to try and calc for it.
Yeah. Like none of us are going to try and counter team each other.
No,
I don't think. I feel like it would be a waste of effort.
Yeah, particularly because you go to these regionals, and what are the chances you play someone from our locals? Pretty slim, I reckon.
You know, I say that, but it always happens at least one round. Like
For you, yeah.
yeah.
I don't think
You got Chris last
I
time.
got Chris at Perth.
Yeah.
I got Envy at the previous Perth, but they weren't a local, really. Like they weren't really local. They didn't come to the local scene, did they?
They used to.
okay.
So like they've been around here for quite a while, but haven't sort of come consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then at 2025 Brisbane, I just it was not my run. It was a bad tournament. It was.
Damn. Yeah.
Well, we have Chris here now. Hello, Chris.
Here he is. Sup, Chris?
Yeah, come
Yeah.
have a
Here you go.
join.
Can we
Have
just
a-
play so I can go home?
No.
I mean,
Come on.
you can.
Sit down.
You can if you.
Sit down. Have a seat.
You can if you want, but you two have played already. I hear in Swiss.
Yeah.
What's the sauce? What's the mix up? How you feeling going into the rematch?
You just have my team sheet open, studying it.
What else are we going to talk about?
Are you serious?
It wasn't me studying
No,
it. I already know.
we were actually just talking about her like past regionals performances.
Okay, well everyone's
I
obviously.
played Chris at a previous regional, by the way, with Politoad.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
won.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm 2-1 against you, all right? So let's just not pretend that you're somehow like my Achilles heel.
Okay.
That's fine. Like if you guys need to conspire against me and study my team on stream, that's
It
fine.
wasn't me that was studying it. I wasn't even looking at it. We were looking at my Urshifu spread.
I brought it up just then, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about it.
Look, I got fairly lucky against Slocum there. I don't know what he got a game loss for the wrong team sheet, but I mean I did win the next game, and then we played a game for fun and he won. So it was I don't know how that would have gone, but I beat him in Swiss. So I feel confident I could have come through with that. I'm not looking forward to this final because I know that this is going to be a really close, hopefully best of 3 to make it like spicy.
Matt, are you leaving? Are you leaving?
Going there?
So yeah, I guess who's going to be cup champion? Me or Ashley? The rivalry continues. What's your restricted core again?
Lunala, Zacian.
That's right. Do you have a cute name for that?
No, but you can make one up if you'd like.
Okay, so I don't know. Something like werewolf.
But
It's like a wolf and a moon.
yeah, I suppose so. But isn't Zamazenta also a wolf?
Yeah, so this can be like well, that's more of a defensive werewolf. Maybe there's, I don't know. Chat, if you're listening, what sort of werewolf?
Is he on the list now, Chris?
Fucking Greg. He's on thin ice. He's already got an official warning, and here he is barracking against me on stream. Greg, this is your time to redeem yourself. Is there anything you want to say to me? Maybe he's not there. Maybe he's scared of me now.
Anime comeback time. She's just 3-1. There's no anime comeback.
Technically 4-1 if you count that one.
When did you lose your game? Round 3?
She lost to Chris.
Yeah.
So it's who she's now about to verse.
Yeah.
So
And lose again.
We'll see. But to be honest, I'm happy either way because I still get championship points and I still get store credits. So you know what?
And the most most importantly, O2 drop invitational points.
That's right.
Wait, do I get that for second?
Yeah, you get top 4 in a cup gets invitational points.
Oh, I still don't think I'm going to make this invitational.
Whoever comes first or second, you get one of these each. One
Oh,
of
yeah.
these PSA graded.
We're getting
Pikachu cards.
Moon Knight. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Aaron thinks that Zacian plus Lunala is Moon Knight. Maybe, I guess, that's like a Marvel reference, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
I actually didn't mind the show. I didn't mind Moon Knight. I don't know, where's the knight come from? I guess it's got a sword. Yeah, Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight. I
Everyone's
still think
saying-
Werewolf is funnier though, but yeah.
Yeah, everyone's saying that Zacian is bad.
It's not bad, it's not as good as it was in Gen 8, but I think it's like B tier. I don't think Swordfish is as good as everyone thought it would be.
I mean, but I'm not running Swordfish. I'd rather die.
Rather-
Kyogre's.
Your frenemy. It was in your top 10 favourite Pokemon.
Yeah, but you see, I like it, but I don't like it in VGC because it lets me down.
Wait for them to buff it. If they ever buff it, then you can bring it back. Alright, we need to play the final. Let's go. Team Chris.
Time to
Fuck you,
lock
Greg.
in.
Go get set up, yo. I'm gonna chat a little bit to Slocum on stream now, and then I'll chat to Robeson after finals.
So,
Is Sliff gone?
he's gone.
He's chilling outside.
You guys can start setting up.
Alrighty, we've got
You need
those.
some water?
No, I'm right.
Okay. Chris, you need water?
We've got those two bickerers setting up for their finals match, and in the meantime, we've got Matt Slocum here on team,
Hello.
taking out a third or fourth place.
Yes.
How you feeling, Matt? All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I was very happy with today. I lost to Chris only twice, so I think I'll take that. I'll take that as it is, and then
You got a team sheet loss.
I did because I had Rob's team sheet from the round before, which is okay. It happens.
Ah, wait, you had Rob's team sheet.
Yeah, so I had Rob's team sheet and I gave it to Chris, and because
instead of your own.
instead of my own, because we're both running Cali Shadow Zam, so
Yeah.
I must have just not checked.
Well, that's a bit.
That's okay, and then
Can I say profanities?
I mean, you can, but like, we're
Penis.
oh shit.
so
What'd you say?
I think overall a very good day. I think Chris gave me issues with his Brute Bonnet. I know I've got some work to do around Brute Bonnet. but-
Chris shoes.
Chris Shoes, yeah. But other than that, it was good. I beat a Caridon. I beat Jamie.
Nice.
With Jamie's
Nice.
Caridon, which I was very happy with. His Caridon's tough for me. Yeah. So overall, I was actually very happy. Thank you. I was very, very happy. If there's a Caridon Lunala without the Brute Bonnet, I feel much better. But the Brute Bonnet does make it hard, so
Yeah.
but I've got to figure that out. But other than that, I was very happy with how today went. Tough mirror match against Rob.
Just give it a fucking brute body press.
Well, I
don't
might
ya?
copy a Robert Chen because he's got the pollen puff on it, which
Yeah,
Oko's,
I reckon
Oko's the brute bonnet and
Pollen Puff is a cook on
Yeah.
CSR. It hits Indeedee, hits
yeah,
Rillabooms.
and because I don't currently have I've got Nasty Plot as my fourth slot. I know I never press.
You never
that.
click it?
I never
Use-
click Nasty Plot.
Put coverage there instead.
I'm thinking of putting
Yeah.
pollen puff on.
Yeah,
Just
instead of-
threaten that bonnet a bit more.
Yeah, get boosts by KOing things
Yeah,
with coverage.
exactly.
Yeah, for real.
So other than that, I was very happy.
Hey Sebi.
Hi Sebi. So yes, overall very happy with how today went. I think
Beauty.
I
Alright.
know what to work on, but I was happy able to win the games I did.
Sliff's still outside, so you're the replacement caster for the
He's
start of this
coming now.
match.
He's on his way.
Yeah, we've got them both set up and in the team preview. Hey Cam, how you doing? These Sliffy's back from a little break. We've got Chris and Ashley picking up their moms for the rematch.
And there is my boy Cam. How you going, Cam? Very close friend of mine, one of my best mates. Apollos, good to see you back. Welcome, Sebi. And
My
like
girl,
a
Sebi.
Lord, I've forgotten your name, unfortunately, but we've
Greg.
interacted. Great. We've interacted on stream before. You are a subscriber of the O2 Drop podcast.
Yeah, he
Welcome,
was
everybody.
One of my
for
fellow
finals.
mafia members in the last round.
So I did say before this happens that if these two made finals, I would pick my regional team based on the winner. I think I've willed it into existence. Apologies, Matthew Slocum. Apologies, Brendan Robeson. But I have a lot riding on this. I am living vicariously through this final. It is who are the fabulous Chris Ma versus Ashley Coe, up-and-comer in her first Cup final, preparing for Melbourne Regionals next week. A lot on the line for these two players as well as myself.
And if both of them suddenly have their switches crash and there's a double DQ, then you can run my Lunala Maradon team.
You know what? I'll take that. If that happens, done. We've shaken on everybody. There's no camera, but we are shaking on that. All right. Either way, I'm running Lunala at Regionals.
Hell yeah.
Wait,
Me too.
Yeah, let's go. Yes. All right, so
Entei Wims on the lead, pressuring fire moves into the Ergopon or big E speeds into the Tornadus, and Whimsicott threatening a tailwind. Tailwind threatened from both sides, and Encore as well from the Whimsicott. It's such an annoying mon to face. Very difficult to have to position around, but there's the Terra Normal straight out of that choice band Entei, and will we see a Follow Me come out? No Follow Me.
Whimsicott moving before the Tornadus here. Sometimes neither of these Pokemon will be maximum speed, so it's hard to gauge if they are max speed right now, but this Whim's a little bit faster than the Tornadus. Ooh, sheesh.
Sacred Fire coming out, bringing it to 1.
Wait for it, 50% chance.
And copping the burn.
Oh no.
Opting not to even bother to take out the Tornadus. Extreme Speed with Terra surely would have one-shot, but instead opting to double tap that.
You can calc for that. You can calc for it even with a Chin Power on the field.
Right.
Back in like regulation C or D when we first had Chin Power coming out. Oh, it was D because Tornadus came out in D. You had like the Chin Power Dragonite strategy with this, and you could calc your Tornadus to live it because that.
It's barely even hacks. It's just a coin flip. Like you expect it to happen as much as to not. So, but I'm pretty sure they can still hear our commentation. Our commentation.
Commentation is now it. Yeah, it's commentation.
Our commentation has been hurdleized, and the stream is back online.
The stream is back. Right to see the turn playing out. Let's go.
Chris bringing in the Lunala and doubling out, repositioning both Mons. Lunala Koraidon coming out.
Completely fair. In front of the Zacian, Extreme Speed's doing bugger all. Whimsicott's, I believe his Whimsicott has a Dazzling Gleam.
Zacian protecting. No big play rough into the Koraidon slot to catch on the switch in. But
quick face cam. I'm seeing a fist bump from Chris here. We don't have face cams. We don't have cams at all because this is the time when the internet is not working for us.
We have one cam.
We have one cam. We have Cam 7 Star, aka Cam Spaghetti. Okay, stream's back. So I didn't see exactly what happened.
Slocum, you're hot. Oi, Slocum! The hot spot. Okay. Your hotspot's dropping out, buddy. No, it's not. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Sorry, Warren.
Anyway, so I didn't exactly see what happened in that turn there, but I think we had a Leafwing Storm.
Okay. It's alright, don't worry, I was just saying it.
The Shadow Shield on Chris's Lunala does appear to be broken. The Koraidon's on the field and doesn't take. I think maybe the Leafwing Storm missed the Koraidon. That might be what the fist pump was about coming from Chris, but we didn't exactly get to see what happened there.
Gotcha, yeah. Okay, and there's the Rain Dance. Such a good Prankster Rain Dance being such a cheeky tool into these Koraidon teams to turn off its Orichalcum Pulse and turn off its boost to its Fire type move, and look how little damage that Flare Blitz is doing.
I think that Koraidon took more damage from Life Orb recoil.
And here's a play rough into not the unturred Koraidon, but
Terra Fairyzation killed it with the Shadow Shield down.
That's a lot of multipliers with +1 and Terra.
That is a lot of damage. Ashley on the swing back after losing that Ogerpon to a burn turn 1. You hate to see it.
Ignoring the Koraidon, such a tasty KO, but not even bothered because what's it doing to her
Yep.
right now? It's not.
Both of
it's
these
not even a
ones resist
threat.
fighting type moves. Rain is reducing the power of this commentary. And please don't enjoy the stream lagging. We are really sorry that this is happening in finals. Very devastating.
So, speaking of threats, though, we've got the Entei coming back on the field, and threatening big E-speeds. We'll see into whom and how much it will do. Okay, there you go. Torn pretty handily living there.
Possibly living that even with a
Behemoth Blade
Chin
picking
power
up
on
the
the
KO.
field. Although I don't know if that was kelped for it specifically. I don't think it's really something you kelp for anymore these days.
Not really.
But it's nice to know that
Don't
you
see
can
much
maybe
Entei.
live it.
Yeah. Although there was a little bit of Entei at Milwaukee actually. I've
There
got
was.
I've got the usage here.
Alright, so both teams' tailwinds petering out. But both tailwind setters about to be back on the field here. We know that this Whimsicott goes first. It's not outspeeding Zation. We know that it's got Worry Seed, but it doesn't really do anything in this matchup. What are you going to do? Worry Seed the Tornadus and take away its Prankster so that it just clicks Tailwind anyway and then still clicks Bleak Windstorm?
You know what it can do? It can encore.
It can go whack.
It can encore it into.
But the Entei can extreme speed here, stopping it from being able to set
That's a
up
good.
Trick Room.
That's a
The
good
Entei's-
point.
But the Entei's on
Yeah,
the field.
Entei is
Psych.
gone. He can set up. He can set up Sun though.
Sunny Day from the Whimsicott
Boost
and the
and the
Reed.
rain dance. The benefit of
revenge
having
rain
the
dance.
slower prankster Mon.
Who needs
Actually making the
tailwind
hard
when you have to
read.
do damage? No damage. Koraidon again gonna take more damage from Life Orb Recoil than it has dealt.
Actually making the hard read and getting it correct to vocal complaints from Chris.
That Whimsicott was dead 16 times over from that hit.
And no encore coming out into the Tornadus to lock it into whatever it clicked last turn, which actually was Rain Dance, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so
The Encore would have come out first though from the Whimsicott because it was faster.
yeah. So that Rain Dance then going off regardless. Actually,
Oh no, it would have encored it into Bleakwing Storm, but I don't think.
didn't it click Rain Dance last turn?
Oh no, if it had encored on the turn, it came out. But Chris opted for the Sunny Day there. It was a bit of a read to be made. Ashley playing from a commanding position after losing her Ogerpon turn 1 as well. And unlike in the previous round where we were talking about those bizarre interactions where taking a double, like an early knockout can sometimes be detrimental, Ashley not wanting to lose her Ogerpon in that situation. You're running a Sturdy Mon for a reason. It's supposed to live the turn. That burn was so big. But Ashley playing from behind here and taking a very commanding game.
Chris here on full tilt, dropping his defenses with close combat in front of the fairy type. But yeah, I know. I'm talking shit, bro.
You know what would have been funny? If after doing that, Ashley had have missed the play rough and then just consecutively missed instead of clicking Behemoth Blade.
The Whimsicott doesn't have Encore, by the way.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah, it doesn't.
I see.
It's Worry Seed D-Gleam.
That's the benefit of non-encore Whimsicott, is that everybody who doesn't read the team sheet closely is going to automatically assume that you're running encore. So every single round at regionals, game 1, they're going to play like you've got encore because they're not going to have worked it out yet.
We absolutely have
That's the secret to
We
it.
absolutely have a game in our hands here. Ashley playing in her first cup final has just taken game 1 off of Chris. Somebody who has won his share of cups and challenges. He's had regional top 8s. He's made day 2. Chris Ma, one of the strongest players in the city, and Ashley up and comer, 1 game away from stealing a cup out from underneath him.
Indeed, and getting that spicy $90 PSA 10 World's Pikachu as well, along with the
World's
trophy.
Pikachu.
Yeah,
And interestingly, once again, we see on stream another matchup that's different, but the only mon shared in common is Lunala. Lunala is going to win this cup. I don't even care who wins.
It's really
It's done it.
It's really become a strong through line of a lot of these teams just giving it's really good into like so many different restricted mons. It can play in or out of Trick Room and give you a matchup against both.
It gets Tailwind if you really want it.
Yeah, it's bulky, but its bulk doesn't have to come from EVs. It's just its ability, so it can still hit really hard.
Its ability plus its natural bulk on top of the ability. It is I mean, it's one of the few mons with quad resist with two
Quad
quad weaknesses.
misses.
Where quadnesses. It's got quadnesses,
Yeah.
and it's
It
still,
can still just-
really difficult to remove.
It can still just live those quad effective hits if you tank for it. Like
You can take a Chi Yu style and then just crack back with a meteor beam,
Yeah.
go back up to neutral,
For
take the
sure.
knockout, and be in a position to start to sweep.
And we're seeing as well at Milwaukee, it was 9 out of the top 10 were Lunala teams, and that was 9 out of 10 were Miraidon teams.
Seven
but
out of 8 were.
There was a
in the
lot
top
of
eight.
Lunala.
There was
but-
a stack of Lunala, not
but
as much
most-
Koraidon Lunala
yeah.
as we expected.
But almost every Lunala that was run with Miraidon was running Electric Seed, so getting even more like ability to resist those Chen Pao Dark type moves, those sucker punches from the bonnets.
And have a look at this lead change up here. Ashley is opting to bring the Lunala out immediately. Chris has changed to the Brute Bonnet.
Threatening
but
speed control in both directions.
Yes, but the big one here is that Ashley does have access to that Rain Dance to immediately turn off this Sun. The Brute Bonnet does threaten a Sucker Punch into the Lunala, doesn't need to tear it out of it, or will it live it? There's a lot of interactions going on here right now.
Chris threatening speed control in no directions, but one very fast and one relatively slow mon on the field. Also with that Spore as an option.
It's the Zoom Shroom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
past Amoongus.
Yeah,
Remember Focus Sash Timid Amoongus in 2022? It's
You
back
bet I
without
do.
the sash, yeah.
You bet I do. I took I'll take to my deathbed that I took a game 1 off of Kieran with Jolly Max Speed boot. Jolly Max Speed Bonnet because
I thought you were going to say Jolly Amoongus with Seed Bomb for a
No,
minute
no.
there.
It's Jolly Max Speed Bonnet because after Tailwind it outspeeds Flutter.
Alright, Chris, very offensive play there.
Straight up taking a
deciding to go
KO.
straight for the
Yep.
attack. Not
No
worrying
rain-
about the Rain Dance, which
no Rain
didn't
Dance this
come
game.
out. No
It
Sucker
didn't.
Punch coming out either,
Yeah.
though, this Lunala.
Actually-
the Terra was kind of forced here, but now it's free to click this Meteor Beam.
Actually
You-
opted for the Bleak Wind, which didn't get to go off. Ooh, and the Brute Bonnet
Oh no!
dodging the Moongeist.
And you've
I
got to
mean,
know that
the-
if it's not
the
Sucker
Meteor
Punching,
Beam.
it's Sporing.
Yeah.
The Meteor
There
Beam
is-
miss. I don't think it was doing a lot of damage. Brute Bonnet is small.
Chris, very very relevant commentary on the match, talking about the design of the Terra. Fruit Vendor's Revenge.
Alright.
Hey, that was Greg in chat.
We're gearing up for a big turn 2. Interestingly, the difference here between this game and when Ashley played against Brendan in the last round is that Brute Bonnet being slower than the Lunala, meaning the Lunala doesn't take its sleep turn until the next turn. So it could potentially be asleep for a longer period of time here, and that Meteor Beam miss might as well just be an extra sleep turn anyway.
It could, or it could wake up earlier still because it did take that full 3 turns against Robeson. Seed Bomb coming out now though, still super effective damage into the Terra.
That
It
was
a crit.
That was a
Yeah,
crit and did
yeah.
less than half through Shadow Shield.
That's Shadow Shield,
Brute Bonnet
baby.
has such a
Yeah.
high attack stat.
Yeah.
You don't expect to see them invested. It's meant to be a bulky support. Even still, I would have thought
And it's
that was
sun
not a
boosted.
crit.
It's proto boosted.
Is it proto in its attack? Or is it? Oh, it's proto attack.
Yeah, it's
What?
it's really it's not proto
Okay,
defense.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, my
Oh my goodness, look how bulky this thing is. That
My
Cudgel
mistake.
doing like a fifth of its health.
proto defense.
That Meteor Beam
Here's
miss
the
might end
other
up
seed
mattering
bomb.
here.
Ooh, it lives the second one without a crit. Look at that.
Now, the crit was effectively ignoring Shadow Shield, right? So,
Not quite.
oh yeah, okay. I guess it was like a low roll crit and then high roll onto that hit there.